we go.
Because if you're ready, we'll go ahead and
Oh,
begin.
yeah.
Because it's about that time.
Yeah.
This is the earliest we've started in weeks, actually.
Yeah.
Am I? No, okay. Hello and welcome to the Supreme Council of the Master Geeks Lodge. I am Bill Kelly, Hornswoggle the Great, and my co-hosts are...
Car guy, automotive detective, savior of all pedestrians. I'm still a known replicant and certified chicken jockey.
Rob the Blacksmith, cigar aficionado, and just hanging.
Oh, before I give the days, what's tonight's cigar?
Well, tonight's cigar, what we're talking about is my question to you and to all the audience. What do you think about the topic, and what comes to mind when I say Hot Wheels?
Hot Wheels. Oh, you're not going to let
Yep.
me do the days of the year first?
No, go ahead. That was just an introduction.
You're teasing. Okay.
I'm just teasing that for the audience. Just get them prepped. We're going to do the days of the week because I think this week had a lot to cover.
I think that we've, like you were saying right before I hit go, we've had so many deaths that this is kind of perfect. Nostalgia is definitely in order.
Yeah.
So, real quick. Sorry, let me get it out of the way. National Soccer Day, or as it's known around the rest of the world, football. Only we call it soccer because we're Americans, and National Soccer Day, yeah, and then World Nature Conservation Day, caring for the planet's beauty and its creatures. World Hepatitis Day.
That one is funny.
Wash your hands. National Milk Chocolate Day.
Ooh, good day. Nah, that's a real. I could get behind that one.
And World Conservation Day. I don't know why we have. Okay, good enough. All right.
Well, we'll say Water Conservation Day.
That's good too, especially for Phoenix.
Especially for Phoenix,
yeah,
for
it's
the
hot.
heat we've been having.
Drink your water. Oh, what is it? 100? It was supposed to be 114 today.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's cooled down to 110.
Yeah. Woo. We'll take it.
A brisk 110.
A brisk. If you're out in the heat and you've been out in Arizona, you know what we're going through. You know what true heat is. Woo.
Couple hours outside, an hour or so inside. Couple hours outside, an hour or so inside. You'll be all right. So, I did not get a chance to watch the videos that you sent me, so this is going to be a learning experience for me as well about automobiles. Hot Wheels.
You know what the funny thing is when I learned, because it was a learning experience for me, and I thought I knew a lot, was that Hot Wheels, to give everybody just a brief history, when you think of Hot Wheels are not the ones that started it all. But we know Hot Wheels for being little die-cast cars, but in the history when I was looking up, Matchbox was 15 years out before it. Lindsay over in Britain was out before it. You had Tomica in Japan, had little toy cars. So the Matchbox we know today was actually a predecessor before Hot Wheels. So the little cars that was during the Second World War and all that were like made a little pot metal, and they either had metal or rubber wheels. They were like a generic pot metal casting of classic cars. And the whole history with Hot Wheels is that Hot Wheels became something because of the lack of the quality and the type, what you can do with your modern die-cast. So even before Hot Wheels came up to it, was that you had Lindsay, you had toys. They were great-looking, doors open, great-looking little die-cast cars, but you couldn't play with them. You could barely roll them down the thing. They were great to look at. Little kids were running back and forth, but you couldn't play with them. And also the parts sometimes could become a choking hazard, unfortunately. Because the standard little toy was of a fire truck, was an ambulance, was military vehicles that had stuff on it. So it wasn't your traditional cars. It was always equipment, bulldozers, calipers, mining trucks. So it was all everyday trucks. So They didn't have anything else that was common. An occasional police car for the longest time. So the creator of Hot Wheels came up with the idea because he saw his son playing with them, and this was I'm trying to remember the gentleman's name, that he worked for Mattel. That the cars were hard to play with. The son would only play with them and leave them. And they said, "Well, wait a minute, you're not getting quality time out of the car. What's the problem with these cars?" So he started to look at them. The whole thing with Hot Wheels was the creation of the suspensions and the wheels.
Yeah.
Is what made Hot Wheels what Hot Wheels are, is the name is on it for it.
I have to say, because I have Matchbox cars that say "Made in England" on the bottom of them, because they're not made in England since the '80s. They're made in America, or were. And well, anyway, but Matchbox are more elegant. They're more to what the car actually is. Hot Wheels are fun and awesome, and who cares if it doesn't even look like a real car? Fuck it. We're going to launch this motherfucker all the way across the living room onto the tile.
Well, that's what made them so fun, and that's what made it so real. Is because what a lot of people don't realize about Hot Wheels was that the thing that you had with Matchbox, it was too precise. And like you said, when the first rolls came out of England, they were miniature die casts. There was no word for Hot Wheels. They weren't known as Hot Wheels. They were known as die casts, and they were meant to be looked at, maybe played with, but you couldn't take them out in the dirt.
Yeah,
you couldn't
like
actually do anything with them.
They're like tchotchkes. Like, you know.
They're like tchotchkes.
They're not really.
They're not really. Nobody had fun with those older cars, and they were like, you could put them on a keychain. They're great to look at, but you couldn't do anything with it. And the beauty about Hot Wheels was they found the need where you could race them. What they did was they made a car that you could be rough with, and that it will stand the test of time. So it didn't have to be exactly perfect, and it didn't have to be exactly correct, because Hot Wheels, sometimes when you have a car, it wasn't correct like the model, it was approximate. But they didn't need it to be that way. They needed to be fast, though. That was the key. They wanted it to be fast. So they had to redesign the toy and the wheels and the suspension on it to actually make it fast. Then they came up with where to put onto it. Did you know that the biggest contribution to Hot Wheels was the little tracks? The little
yellow, orange.
Yeah, the little orange tracks came up from the AMX little racing series. You know the little power motor cars that you had?
Yeah.
On the electric tracks that ran around with power? The slot cars?
Tyco.
Hot Wheels. Yeah, they took all their inspiration from slot cars. That was heavily in the 50s and 60s, the slot car racers.
Oh, yeah.
The whole track, everything, the whole slot cars and stuff, that's where they got their inspiration was. How can we take our Hot Wheels and put it on a track like that and have people play with them and go around like with the slot cars? So they took years of engineering. This is what I didn't know, is that they had to take and redo the bottom, the whole car, the casting, just to make it work on their type of track that they invented for the Hot Wheel. So everything. So it took engineers. It took quality engineers that they had to take engineers from GM. And we're talking people who did Cadillacs, who did Corvairs, who designed cars. Unbelievably, did the first Hot Wheels.
Interesting. Well, I mean, the second generation of Matchbox that are made in England, those wheels moved. And I don't think the doors opened. But maybe on a couple of them. But
yeah, you're right. The first generation, they had more opening parts to it, but in order to make them cheaper, they kind of closed the doors and made them like they tried to mimic Hot Wheels when Hot Wheels was coming up.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Matchbox had all of the. Matchbox was the first one to have the miniature tractor trailer.
Mm-hmm.
They had the original pickup truck with the boat trailer behind. And they had an early plastic track system that they used in the 70s and the 80s first Matchboxes that I played with all came from the 60s and 70s. And the other ones that I grew up on were things like the Corgi.
The Corgi.
And a number of those. Die-cast, a small die-cast airplane. Things like that. The Hot Wheels became special when Hot Wheels decided that they were not going to worry about making the accurate cars. They decided that this was an opportunity for them to have a good time. So they brought in designers and they said, okay, let's take some of these rat fink cars. Let's take some of these custom cars that were being built in the late 60s, the 70s, and they started to miniaturize them. They put them together, and then their designers got the opportunity to say, go ahead and just run wild with it. Have a good time. Build something, give us a design that we can put into this size, this format, that somebody would never see on the street. So you could see all of these beautiful designs that were coming out of, Barris would come out with a design and Hot Wheels would say, can we build that? Barris said, sure, I'll license it to you. And they would build thousands of them, tens of thousands of them, because they knew they could turn them around. Matchbox wasn't as interested in that aspect because they knew that wasn't their forte. Hot Wheels ran with it. Matchbox is still out there, but both sides are doing different things. And they know where they are called in. To Guy's point, the Hot Wheels cars, after their initial design difficulties, became much faster. So they used a heavier axle. They gave it more spring. They gave them a better wheel so that they could roll faster and they could move easier. So they could do all of those things. Matchbox, about the same time as Hot Wheels, came up with their motorized system. So you could send the car through. You put a couple of D cells into a housing, and it had little rubber wheels. You'd send the car through it and shoot the car out the other side. And Matchbox didn't get into the hot rod style as much. You could go there. You would buy the Lamborghinis. You would buy the Jaguars. You would buy the race cars. You put them through the Matchbox set, watch them race. You get the Hot Wheels. Hot Wheels had the taller track signs, and they were designed so that they could push bigger, heavier loops and things like that. And they had a lot more fun doing that, but they also built cars with that intent and that purpose. So Matchbox, you would go to Matchbox and you could get any kind of military miniature vehicle that you wanted. Get stuff from the airport and the fire department and the police department, public works, and anything else. Hot Wheels, when Hot Wheels built a fire truck, it had great big slicks in the back and it had 4 motors sticking out the front, and it said, it said Crazy Town Hot Fire Department. And that was the whole point of it. They were having a good time, to the point that in the 90s they started, and into the 2000s, custom car shops started taking Hot Wheels design and building real life version. One of the best ones I've seen is the double motor Corvette, and they spent a long time trying to get that vehicle running. They got it running. The guy said it. He said he would never undertake that job again, but he said it was a lot of fun to do. Was it worth the money? He said, hell no, but it was a lot of fun.
It was challenging. You want to do it again? No.
No, never do it again.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's such a history lesson because you see a cascading effect. That the funny thing is now, Hot Wheels represent all little die casts. If you look at a Matchbox, that some people refer to that Hot Wheel character, it's become such the norm and nomenclature that any miniature die cast is kind of referred to a Hot Wheel. And the biggest thing is going back just real quickly to Matchbox. Matchbox was really made to complement toy trains and electric trains at the time, because they had HO scale cars. And ironically, with certain type of size of trains, like this car right here, Matchbox, Tomica, and other ones were made live sets so you can run along with your toy train cars, your HO scaling and the other ones on it. But they were meant to be seen. You couldn't play with them because of the plastic or rubber wheels on them were hard to maneuver. and easily damaged. So they were great to look at, but you couldn't get any value out of it because that's all what it is. It's more like an adult toy or for like a train conductor and so forth. So when Hot Wheels came in and said, no, we're going to make it for kids. So the thing what happens, and Rob, you might know this, is that they changed the composition of the metal on the cars to make it more durable. Because the problem you had with Matchbox and with like Tomica, and when you have with other brands, is that it's a pot metal. So sometimes during the time, it's made with low quality pot metal. Even Hot Wheels got inflicted by this. You have what's called crumblers, where the Hot Wheels metal over time would deteriorate and it start crumbling and cracking. It would literally start breaking apart in your hand because it's just pot metal. It wasn't made to protect time and so forth. So a lot of the original like corgis and stuff on it have this problem where it starts disintegrating. It's not meant for a long time. So if you put it into the dirt, it'll start ruining the cars. Where Hot Wheels looked at that problem and said, well, let's make it out of a different type of metal. So you can bury the Hot Wheel in it and it'll look horrible, but you can restore it and you can bring it back to life and it'll still be there. So they made it generational, so a lot of people can get a lot of wear and tear out of the Hot Wheel for years to come.
Now, there's a whole cottage industry that actually came around in the late 90s in customizing Hot Wheels. So people would take old, damaged Hot Wheels, they'd drill out the rivets, they'd pull them apart, you could buy replacement wheels and replacement axles. They would clean them up, repaint them, do custom work to them, put them all back together again, and it became as popular as the model car shows were in the 60s and 70s into the 80s, when you would see people, I mean, we'd go out, we'd buy the model kits, and then you would start customizing. And you had companies that were building and selling custom components to fit different model kits. There were companies that were doing the same for the Hot Wheels, and I've gone away from it quite some time, so I don't know how much is still out there going on with that. But it was a lot of fun. It was a neat practice as much as building miniatures or tabletop gaming, because you had the opportunity. I can't afford to buy original GTO Judge, but I can find a little Hot Wheels car and I can paint that one up and make it nice. And it costs me a lot less to do that than it does to even buy a 1/32 scale at a hobby shop today and do the same work. So now I've got dream car can sit up on the shelf. Now I can have every dream car I ever wanted. Put it up on the shelf because I can pick them up for pennies on the dollar, comparatively speaking.
Oh my God, yeah, Rob, yeah, what Hot Wheels has is, because of its racing and hot rod heritage, like going back to the original tires and wheels, they were modeled after Krager SST wheels. They were modeled after the old racing cars of the 60s. And a lot of cars that you have in Hot Wheels were modeled out of fictitious cars, but some of them were real cars. Because a lot of people don't realize, remember Sox and Martin? Remember Snake and Mongoose? Was first represented in Hot Wheels. Now, here's a little bit of trivia that a lot of people don't realize, that Hot Wheels got the patent for a car that wasn't even out yet, and they were threatened to be sued, but then the manufacturer said, no, it's good publicity. Was because the creators that built the car worked for GM. They modeled one of the first, the Sweet 16, was a 68 Corvette. They modeled a 68 Corvette before the 68 Corvette came out. So Hot Wheels is the first one beat GM for the debut of the 68 Corvette, and GM was going to threaten a lawsuit against them to cease and desist because they didn't debut the car. But for some reason, they said, well, no, if the kids got it, maybe the parents will want it, maybe they'll see it, maybe it's good publicity, so they let it go. So one of the original Sweet 16, the first 16 cars that came out with Hot Wheels, was actually a Corvette that wasn't supposed to come out. And GM was going to pull all their copyrights to the cars of all the ones Hot Wheels were making a copy of. But thank goodness that they didn't, because that helped the sales of the 68 Corvette when it came out, because you got to see one before it did. And going back to what Yeah,
was the first to have the red line tires. They
Mhm.
mimicked, because in those days, way back when, the hot tires for hot
Even before
rods, you went
times.
and you spent the extra money for the red line tires because they had a harder compound, they lasted longer, they gave better traction on the hot rods. And Hot Wheels had a series of cars that came out with the red line on the sidewall of the tires. That was a big deal.
Oh, it was a big deal because they were the Firestones and the Goodyears of the day, and they were mimicking what they saw on the track, on the racetrack and everything. So it was all hot rod culture. It was all you're talking about your race culture, and that's what they were mimicking on the track to increase sales. Because Hot Wheels went hand in hand with Top Fuel drag racing, went in hand with pro street cars. So when you race on the NHRA, Hot Wheels had its own racetrack.
Yeah.
One of its first racetrack that it revealed was a drag strip. Two Hot Wheels head to head together, and a drag strip head on, and who would trigger the flag down at the end of it.
True.
Yeah, because it used to be the dealers always had for their midline and top line vehicles. Dealership always had miniatures that were sales promo pieces, and you could get them out of the parts department, get them out of the sales department. If you bought a car, or you came in and you did certain things as a customer, they might give you one. This is for your kids.
There you go. Here's the
then,
1/16th replica of
right.
your vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And Matchbox was a regular vehicle, regular item in many dealerships for a very long time because for that same reason, you could get boxes of you could buy a case of Matchbox pickup trucks or Matchbox Ford LTEs or Crown Victorias or whatever, and you could have them laid out in the sales department. And the parents come in with the kids, and the kids want the damn car. And okay, well, I'll sell you a couple of little cars for 50 cents. Out they go. The kid's happy. Now the parents are constantly seeing and hearing about the Ford LTD.
Yep. It like that was the exact same market that Hot Wheels went after later. Because if you remember, some of the rare Hot Wheels to get were the ones that went to the Sunoco's and went to the Sinclair gas stations. Because in the early 70s, Hot Wheels would put them in little baggies. So when you went to the gas station and had a fill up or bought drinks, you could get a Hot Wheel for your kids. Kind of like what you think of a Happy Meal at McDonald's. You could get Hot Wheels in a bag. Because it's that same thing, because when you went to the dealership, you could get either a model, AMT or Monogram would make a model that you can buy of that year, that model car that when it came out, or you can get a little die cast from Matchbox. They broke into that. The same thing, and some of those Hot Wheels are coveted because they were never out to the public directly like in a store. You had to go to the local facilities to get them. And it was gas stations, fill-up stations and stuff to bring them out, even before they ever went to McDonald's.
That's crazy. I wanted to add in on the tires because yes, NASCAR, drag racing, and all that other stuff. But I would say drag racing is the oldest, but second oldest. I would have to go with Demolition Derby, and I would definitely have to say that you would need the best tires you could get for that kind of shit terrain and the amount of damage, torque, and violence that you're inflicting on the tires as well. But one step further for your promo, the mid to late 90s Chevron gas station commercial with all of the talking cars. And lo and behold, look, your kids can own the talking cars. Or if you have a coworker that has this car, or that talking car sounded like you, so I got the car. Here, leave it in your cubicle for 5 years. So the promotion and marketing is the best thing ever if done correctly. And the thing you were talking about where they promoted it as a, what was it? Hot Wheels had the special, or was it Matchbox?
Matchbox and Hot Wheels had special cars. release.
That's better.
Before the car
Hot
came out.
Wheels
That's
got
brilliant.
back in the late '90s and the early 2000s. Hot Wheels jumped. In my opinion, Hot Wheels jumped too hard to the collectible craze because there was a lot of nostalgia that came in, and Hot Wheels started selling numbered sets. So you would get a car, there would be a car model, and the car would come out, and they would make 50,000. They would put number 125 on it. And for that year, they might have had 200 car models that were out, or whatever the case may be. And so you had people that were scrambling to go out and find, oh, I need number 116, I need number 185, and that to me just that took it to a level that I lost my interest in because it wasn't as interesting. I didn't want to collect just to collect and put them up on the shelf. So for me, when I was collecting a lot of that, I collected them, but I wanted them out of the package because I wanted to see it. I like to play with cars. So I like the Matchbox, Hot Wheels. And there were a couple of other second-rate, third-rate groups that would do specialty cars. And now you see a lot of YouTubers. Matt's Off-Road Recovery has their own cars that are being made as miniatures. I don't know who's building them for them, but they've got a number of them. There's other outfits. David Freiberger and the guys from Roadkill had a number of cars that were made as miniatures, but I don't know who was doing. I don't think Hot Wheels and Matchbox jumped in. I think it was a smaller company that put them out and has them out. You can go ahead and purchase those. But it just kind of got a little bit too far gone, kind of like what we saw with the miniature figures. Star Wars came out with the miniature figures, and everybody wanted them, and that was really cool. And some became a little harder to find because they were popular, or they only went to one market or another, and that was great. But over time, as companies figured out that, I can really spark interest by saying, I'm going to make 10 figures, but 3 of them are only going to be available in this market, that market, and that market. So you'll have to scramble to find them. And that, to me, was going beyond marketing, my humble opinion. But they made money. It worked out. People were very happy because they wanted to be a part of it. But those also seem to be the case where they blew up for a while, and then they fell away as a fad. And then you have the nostalgia folks that come back and hang with it for a time. And, the true hardcores, what we would call the nerds, who go after them because that's their specialty, their area that they've honed in on. That's where they live most. So,
and actually, Rob, you're absolutely right, Rob, because it led into something that I didn't even realize and how depth it was. Because you have a total gray market, and everything that I found out, there's a huge gray market for different type of Hot Wheels, and it goes back to the beginning was when any type of collection, like the original 16 and so forth, once it goes to the 20-year mark, people start looking for the older Hot Wheels that they had. So what happened was a secondary market started popping up. People started buying old red lines. So when people start buying old red lines, there was a secondary market in sales. As Hot Wheels saw this, the rise of the collector, and ironically, the Hot Wheel rise up went the same time as the comic book rise up in the early 90s for the same reason. What happened was there was a lot of crossover because a lot of people didn't realize DC, Marvel did comic books about Hot Wheels, about Hot Wheel characters, about cartoons. There was cross-pollination during that era. And that was the rise in the late 80s, early 90s of what's called in Hot Wheels, the treasure hunt. And Bill, you know this because you work at Toys R Us. People went looking for the treasure hunts.
I've been waiting to pull out my giant Toys R Us dick. Thank you for asking for it. No. Here's what I've sorry, that was inappropriate. What I've always found interesting is as much as Marvel tries to push vehicles on superheroes, they're constantly trying to give Spider-Man a car. I mean, they really want him to have a car. The kid that cannot afford a car, they're always making. I have one. It's around here somewhere, and I think it's from like a Happy Meal. Or, I don't know. Anyway, but with Marvel, the only character that I can think of that has a car is a van, and that's the Punisher.
Mhm.
I can't really think of any other. You
Now,
know,
in the 70s, the
Well-
80s, and the 90s, MPC and a couple of the model companies were doing crossovers with both comic book groups. There was you had Joker cars, you had Batmobiles,
well,
you had
I was
all of the characters had
Yeah.
cars that
Yeah.
were plastic model kits that you could buy, and then they disappeared. And before that, some of the Polar Lights stuff they tried picking up when Polar Lights bought out the rights to the original Aurora model.
Well, I was going to jump into DC on the other hand, and Gotham in particular, because Arrow doesn't really have an Arrowmobile. There's no Flashmobile. Well, there is for a short time, but he doesn't need one. Wonder Woman has the Invisible Jet, which they kind of get rid of in the revamp in the early 90s, which is a good thing, because why the fuck would an Amazon have a jet that doesn't make any... And why would it be invisible? But Batman and all of Batman's villains, like you said, the Joker car, there's been other cars. You've got a massive playing field there, really. I mean, if you really wanted to do it, and yes, Guy, you're exactly right, because Matchbox and Hot Wheels are in the same aisle. We're in the same aisle 11 years ago at Toys R Us when the store was still open and I still worked there, because I worked there up until it closed. The last season was 2014, which we didn't understand why it was closing, because they were making money hand over fist, and it doesn't matter. So in the aisle, Hot Wheels dominates, but they don't dominate in sales because, okay, let me put it this way. With the individual cars and with the play sets, Hot Wheels dominates for quantity over quality. And that's what you want. It's fine. That's awesome. I want to see this car in like 8 other colors. I really do. It's awesome looking. I can't decide which color I would have it if I owned the car. Where Matchbox does specific themes. There's a Batman theme, like you were saying. Here's a Star Wars theme. Here's a...
Well, it's ironically that you said that, because Hot Wheels did something that Matchbox and all the rest didn't. The only one who had it before Hot Wheels did was once a Corgi, and that was it. And Ertl snuck in there, and this is what I mean. A lot of people don't... Here, let me show you this real quick here.
Hold on. Explain these, because
I'm going to explain.
What?
I'm going to explain it right now.
Okay.
Copyright was only... This is the Adam West Batman card. This is a Corgi.
Old.
It's an old Corgi. So what happened with it is that copyright was hard to get from other manufacturers. Was really hard to get, was really expensive. So a lot of Hot Wheels, that's why they had a little different figures, was with Matchbox, it was all European cars. They didn't do really American cars until the 90s. It was all European, the Fiats, the Mazdas and stuff like that.
I would say the mid-70s, the 80s, because I have Matchboxes that are...
Correct. But they didn't start going into there until Mattel bought them out. And that was in 1987. Before then, when you get the older ones, sometimes what happened was they were only cars that basically were over in Europe, the majority of them. Every once in a while, they would do a Ford Galaxy as a police car, because it was a police car used over there. It was a common car, like a Mercury Capri. So going back to what I was saying, with cars like this, was the reason why it's so deformed and not to percentage, it looks kind of odd, is because they couldn't get the actual proportions, or they couldn't make it 100% exactly. They had to distort it. And this is the 1966 Batmobile. So how first ones to get most of the copyright, except for Ertl. Now this was the funny thing. Ertl did models, but since Ertl had the copyright for Star Trek, for other different type of models, AMT and stuff with it, that they could make miniatures, and they created like the Michael Keaton Batmobile. They created the Dukes of Hazzard, so they had the copyrights of the models. Because they had the copyrights to the models, they can make a little die cast. So they came from the modeling company and decided to throw their shoe in with little die cast. Hot Wheels got it the other way around, because like when they work with Marvel, because of their comics, got the use of their comic characters. So going back to your Spider-Man car was in conjunction with Marvel Heroes and a track for that Spider-Man car. Okay. So Spider-Man never had a car in it, but there's an episode where he did that was exclusively when you bought a Hot Wheel, you got you could send away from Marvel Comics. This Marvel Comics had him showing he had a car that was invented for him. It was just a cross showing advertisement between Marvel and it. So like in the 70s, you had Hot Wheels with the Hulk, the Thing, the Human Torch, all of them. Then you had the stupid, what everybody refers to it with Hot Wheels, the Spider-Man car. We know Spider-Man never had a car, but there's a Spider-Man racetrack
for him to have
that is worth a lot of money.
Like if he had to go across New York, he would just walk over to the Fantastic Four Baxter building and be like, Dr. Richards, would you please take me in the hover thing over there? Yeah, Peter. I mean, Spider-Man, what's going on? Okay, yeah. I just looked it up. So Matchbox has been cranking out the toys since 1935, but you're right. Corgi's been cranking them out since 1956. So
when I was young, getting the first cars, Matchbox came in a box. And it came in a
Matchbox.
Where did the Matchbox idea come from? So when you walked into the toy store, you could see blister packs of something. But I went straight to the Matchbox because they were all in the boxes and they were all stacked up on the shelf. But you could see that this was the police car, this was the tractor trailer, this was the fire truck, this was the military, whatever. And that was really cool. And that was kind of the cachet that came with it. This was special. This was more important because it came in this box with a full 4-color printing all the way around, as opposed to a blister pack with a card.
Yeah, and it's right from the heritage of model trains, because model trains came packaged that way itself. The cars, the scenery, and even like the trees and the lights and everything came in boxes like that you bought. The HO scales, the 1/2 scales. So the Lindsays, the Corgis were exactly like for model trainers for those people at the time. Because remember back then, there was a lot of people that did model trains and would spend thousands of dollars on these model trains, and they would have a city set that needed cars to be in it if they were making a little town that the train was going through. So when you look at Matchbox, the heritage goes back to model training and stuff. Where like Hot Wheels were for kids. They wanted to be identifiable to the kid. So they put the artwork on the card, but that's why they left it plastic out front, so you could see the car. They wanted the kid to go, oh, a toy. So the Matchbox was for the adult, for like the husband or the wife to enjoy, where the Hot Wheel was supposed to be for the kid. Sorry. Well, it was supposed to be one for the collection, then one just for the entertainment, because they know the kid's going to launch down the stairs or down the driveway.
Off the roof. I made a mistake a little at 53 Matchbox starts, not 35. That was a little dyslexia there. No. Okay, we're okay now.
Okay now. So the history with it.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, going back to what you were saying, Bill, is that a lot of people don't realize with the comic books and everything, and going back to what you said, Rob, that was the development of the gray market, and the gray market had went crazier than what everybody thinks right now. Yeah. because you have people buying and selling secondhand Hot Wheels.
Oh yeah. Well, you do.
And
You and your brothers do that all the time. You've been doing that for decades now.
we've been doing it for decades, and you can make money with it, because what happens was, what a lot of people didn't realize is, with the invention of the treasure hunt, which is a $20 worth Hot Wheel into a normal case that you can find out in the open. So going back to your days at Toys R Us,
Those are us.
that's why people were raiding those places looking for those $20, because it was
Yeah.
called the treasure hunt for that reason. Was they made it specialty wheels, specialty paint, better die cast metals. It was a
Yes.
$20 car in a dollar package. So people were hunting them down. People were knocking down your doors, breaking in
No.
boxes just to find that, to resell it.
Yes, this happens, and I can stand behind what you're saying 100% because when I first saw a dude digging through an adult, digging through because some of them are up and hung in a display, but a lot of them are just in a bin, and he's like a toddler. It's like, dude, I get it. I'm a collector too, but have a sense of decorum. We're in a store. There's children around. But I become a small child whenever I see a cool toy. So, like, Tina and I freaked out a bunch of toys when we just opened the box. Oh my God! Or one of my best scores was I think, like you said, we keep repeating ourselves. The David Tennant score was really good because the reason for that, Toys R Us, the computer keeps track of what's being sold. So it replaces it on the shelf. And if it's not available at the warehouse, which ours was in California, and then they would ship it out. So every Tuesday night would be delivery night. And then there would be, in the middle of November, it's like 700 pieces, as opposed to the middle of December, it's like almost 2,200. It's packed. It's just packed. It takes me some nights I couldn't even get the whole thing emptied. I'd have to empty 3/4 of it, and then Jay would come in and stop me, and then I would have to do it the next night. Meanwhile, you fill up all the U-boats and you go out there. But whoever has packed the box that packed it at the warehouse before the computer played Tetris and fit everything in there, like, holy shit. There's no way a human did this. This is just too precise. And if so, that guy's been working there like 15 years. Give him another raise. So they just grab what they have or what's near. They don't care that it's, what'd you say, it's the 99-cent car that's worth like $30, and you can resell it for $50, and then, because it's the same convenience of the first time I heard about people selling, I know this is totally off the subject, but it's the same kind of progression. People would sell their characters, their tunes that they would make in video games, like in EverQuest and World of Warcraft. I heard about that, and I'm like, that's just disgusting. And then when it was explained to me, it's like, it's really not. If this guy's working 80 hours a week as a salesman and he's pulling in $350K a year, he doesn't have time to grind all the way up to level 50. It's just easy for him to throw me $2,000, which is probably part of one of the commissions he makes in the morning before lunch. And then I sit home and that's rent for 2-3 months, and then I'll just build another character and sell it to one of his buddies, and that's pretty much.
Oh, sorry, Bill. Sorry.
No, my open mouth wasn't you interrupting me. My open mouth was, you can do that? Holy crap! I gotta get another video game.
Well, what if I were to blow your mind to saying that was designed because the whole treasure hunt thing was designed by Hot Wheels because of one simple thing that happened. And this is where you get to the gray area, and a lot of people don't know this, is that, have you ever heard of a Hot Wheels convention?
Yeah.
It's like a Comic-Con convention. They sell Hot Wheels. At every Hot Wheels convention, they have an exclusive that you can only get there, and it's a specialized Hot Wheels, and it's a $20 Hot Wheel. Well, a lot of collectors were getting mad that you
Ah.
had to be at the convention to get it. So they started offering it on their websites. Hot Wheels Club and so forth, you could get them. Well, in order to increase sales, they say, well, why don't we take this car and sneak it into a regular batch and make people come for it? You're going to buy that and you're going to buy more. So what they did was they took a specialized Hot Wheel and they threw it into a batch. We're going to make one that's regular, but we're going to make one that's slightly off, and you're going to have to dig for it. So it created the craze of treasure hunts.
No,
Well, you know what else they started to do
that's
was they
good
created
evil.
the Z-Max, the one-off cars, the super treasure hunts. So it fed into this industry. They said, if you want to have this specialized car, we're going to put it out in the wild as a unicorn. Go hunt the unicorn.
You got to be
So
able to
it
knock
created
4-year-olds out of the way and
and it
get
worked
out
for
of
them.
hell, bastard!
It increased their sales because they were in a little bit of a slump. Then they introduced it because before then they were trying new tires, new concepts, dinosaurs. They were trying anything for Hot Wheels, and they were in a little bit slump.
The
Then they
paint.
introduced that for the market, and you know what? You've seen it. Went crazy.
Oh yeah, okay. I was always impressed because cars are something that you absolutely okay. If you're a dude, you fall in love with cars at a very young age. Your father is probably into cars. When you get older and you get your own car, you kind of establish what kind of relationship you're going to have with cars, and then you kind of work to owning a certain type of car at one point. Or if you have a bunch of kids, that goes right out the window, and you have to do it later. But then even later so, I find it interesting that now I've been hanging out with Pete for almost 4 years now, and the average age of the dudes that come out to buy parts is early 40s up. The 30s and 20s, they come out, they buy parts, they buy a fender, they buy a bumper, they buy a hood, they buy a piece of a dash, but that's a small group. The 40 plus, that's the majority of the dudes. He had one of his coworkers where the guy was between jobs, and Chris was staying in an RV out there on the property. So Chris he's a welder and a pipe fabricator like Pete and all that. So he was up by the new mega shop. I can't even remember what he was doing. I think he was working on one of the engines. I don't even remember. And I'm down by my vehicles, that's like 2 acres away. And I know that there was a guy coming to pick up one of the Camaros. And he got there, and I'm just doing, but I had, music in. I got my head, everything's better with music. So, I had my MP3 player because, oh, here it is. Because I'm ancient, and hey, fits right in the pocket. And I hear yelling. This kid, basically, he was probably in his late 20s. He wasn't a kid, but to us, he's a baby. And I guess he was thinking Pete's all alone, and I'll just take this old man who's in his mid 60s. And then Chris and I came running around the corner, and then of course this guy was young, and I'm much bigger than this guy, and Chris isn't very big, but he's kind of got that wiry psycho look to him, which if you haven't spent a lot of time talking to him, it works very well. He looks like a crazy person. You don't know. He probably has a weapon. He's one of those guys. And then as soon as we came around, the guy calmed down, and they're still, of course, you got Pete all riled up. Like, dude, why would you piss him off, for one? And they got into a big argument over one of the Camaro. This thing is parts anyway. So it's mostly, and I think it's interesting looking back, and again, cars being fun from the time you're a toddler, and then going down. Cars had their own aisle at Toys R Us to this day. It was a mishmash of mostly Hot Wheels, secondary Matchbox. They were on opposite sides, and then more collectibles from movies, more collectibles from the older manufacturers that really. This car it's a toy, but look at the detail.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the Lego movie, this is a what is it? A construction, but it's for kids. Interlocking mechanisms.
Well, here's the interesting thing about Hot Wheels and diecast sales is that the gray market has sprung. A lot of people don't realize this. The secondary market is huge, just like in watches, just like in comic books at certain locations, that you can find sections. Look in Whatnot. There is huge sellers that are selling secondary diecast cars. You have in the market, it's like with automobiles, I agree with you. Like when you're talking about people in their 40s and up. But when you deal with Hot Wheels, you have millennials, zennials. It runs the full gambit because of the pay to enter.
Yeah.
Buying an actual car is a lot more expensive than buying a Hot Wheel version of that car or a diecast car. So you get a lot more variety in it in the secondary market. Also, too, because of the secondary market, prices have gone up. So some of the Hot Wheels that you had, Bill, that you had, Rob, are in the thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars.
They're in a box in their case in the other room in the minute.
And that they have quality. So to tell you how serious it is, Hot Wheels are rated like jewelry in their patina, in how they look,
really?
And what they represent, and when they were made. So sometimes what makes one Hot Wheel different than the other one is like Hot Wheels have two manufacturing plants. Originally was in the U.S., then they went to Hong Kong, then they went to Malaysia. So depending on where it was made will make that Hot Wheel 10 times much more expensive, even though it's similar castings. And even at that, sometimes the castings are different because a lot of people don't realize that the original 16 were cast here in the United States, but the ones in Hong Kong were different than the ones in the United States because they couldn't get the tooling right. So sometimes they would make corrections and make it better. So some people like the Hong Kong variety of the Corvette, where people like the U.S. variety of it. So it created such a diversity of stuff that people don't even scratch the surface because when you get into it, you start looking at the differences in color, just in pigment, between the magentas, where they call the purple, the off-purple, the grape, the violet, the inviolet. It's all shades of purple and how the car patinaed over time. So you have gradings on that.
It's so funny listening to women describe color as opposed to listening to men describe color. Because today Pete and I were talking. What's the story with this one? What about this green truck? That's not really green. It's okay. Okay, sorry, cat was stuck on my shirt. So then later he's like, take these tires, have Judy help you, put them on the green trailer. I'm like, the green trailer? He's like, yeah, the green trailer. And I look out, it's really, and I just, okay. He got the tires were already over there. He moved them because he woke up with a real bad nosebleed, and the doctors told him that he lost over a pint of blood before he got to the ER. Yeah, that's not good for anybody, let alone somebody in their mid-60s. So he's taking it easy. And yeah, take it easy. Oh my God, pint of blood. Because he almost passed out. They lost him for like 3 minutes at the... So, this is really chartreuse. It's more of a yellow-green. But for you, it's green. I'm not going to argue. Just make sure you tell me which one. Because you do a lot of that one. Which one was that? So, yeah. Yeah. What? What?
I can't see where your eyes are pointing. Tell me what you want.
It's What?
Which space is it in?
Yeah.
We're gonna start spray painting space numbers out here. You're gonna have to tell me space number
Yeah.
23. Okay, I'm on it.
I'm impressed. In the 4 years that I've been coming out there, that place has really been. And granted, I had a big part to do with that, but he was talking about, oh, I may have to come out of retirement. I may have to go because he's got like 358 Chevy trucks that he wants to sell, and if we put the right beds on them and clean them up, you could get the amount of money you want for them because they're big back window Chevy trucks. Those are prized. They're rare. Even my 66 has the little window. I'm not going to, we're leaving it. No. We have so much to do on the other vehicles that one's fine. I don't need a big giant fucking window for a truck I'm going to drive every other weekend. Okay, park it. Don't touch it. Don't look at it. So that's kind of in motion, and especially because they're big back windows. Big back windows are deeply prized. Same thing as the 5 windows. Now I don't know how many Matchbox or Hot Wheels they made of the larger back windows or the big, but it's always interesting. Like, okay, I can remember that the Rockford Files was on. But what I really remember is I had one of the Matchbox ones that was blue, that was made in England, that looked similar to the Rockford Files, his car, that James Garner drove. So that was like, oh yeah, hey, it looks kind of like that. Neat, So it's interesting that patina Matchbox cars have a big value because around 2014, I met Gary LaFata. He's on my friends list, and he is an amazing airbrush guy and cabinet maker. But one of his passions is airbrushing Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars. And apparently there's contests with cash prizes for people that Matchbox cars or Hot Wheels. Guy,
That's part of the
you probably
that's
know,
part of the gray area.
yeah, you probably know all about this. I was like, really? So,
Dude, you don't even begin to understand the market that they have for it, because you have people that are on, like some of the videos that I showed you, try to introduce you to it. They're making such customizations of it. They're like Franklin Mitts. They take a normal Hot Wheel and they're using jeweler's tools on it, and they're making custom Hot Wheels out of Hot Wheels. So it's a whole market on it. The airbrushing, it's considered customs. That you can go to a Hot Wheel convention and sell your customs. My brother's done it. We made customs out of Hot Wheels and sold them. Because what happens is you're taking something that's standard, a regular Hot Wheel like this, and I've had people turn it into an actual working model with the doors opening, the hoods.
Is that a
This
Torino?
is it's a Talladega, Ford Talladega.
Talladega.
This,
I was close.
This is a 99.
And
It's a
you
99.
say I don't know cars.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And they take something like this and make it even look more better than what it is. And this is a new one. This is something that I just picked up, but it's just a modern day Hot Wheel. But even with the detail like this, they make it even beyond belief. And the market on some of these cars becomes a couple $100 that even Hot Wheels is taking advantage of it. Because you got Hot Wheels that are actually plated in gold. You have actually Hot Wheels that have diamond encrusted diamonds from Tiffany. They have a Tiffany & Co. Hot Wheel. They have different Hot Wheels. I have sets of Hot Wheels that you got only at certain toy stores or at certain jewelry stuff. Like I said, remember when I said it's something that they...
Limited edition, okay, but Tiffany...
Tiffany
FAO
& Co.
Schwartz used to get them with the Schwarzkey crystals in them and stuff like that, and they would sell them for stupid amounts of money. You'd have to go to FAO Schwartz in New York, and they would have 10 of them. And the reason they had them was because somebody was willing to pay $2,000 a piece for a little Hot Wheel that had Swarovski crystals on the, instead of hubcaps on the tire.
Bougie,
so that they could get big money.
Bougie.
It's bougie. but it's part of the market, and that's what a lot of people don't realize is that Hot Wheels has infiltrated so much that it become the norm that you don't see Matchbox anymore. They're all referred to Hot Wheels because FAO Schwartz, each year they started back in 1999, was an exclusive dealer
Yeah.
for Hot Wheels that you only got kits from FAO Schwartz,
Hey, whoa.
and they had that they would sell.
FAO Schwartz is so big, they were in bed with Toys R Us, and they had their own aisle, and an end cap. They dominated. I think.
Yep.
Yeah, but
Wheels.
you know who never sold out?
Who?
You know who never sold out?
Who?
Tonka.
No,
Yeah,
Tonka will live forever, and that's what I was trying. I was trying to tell Cliff Rev from the other podcast. He's got like a pile of Tonka trucks. I'm like, dude, make videos about restoring these. Oh yeah, I'll get to it. No, people watch people restoring old toys. I
have a couple
watch
from the
people
ranch.
restoring old toys.
I have a couple of people from the ranch. So
Really?
these are when I was little bitty, and they're destroyed. I mean, they're hammered. The grandkids love them, and when my son and my daughter-in-law came over and they saw them, they said, "You're going to let the kids play with them? Just look at it. Look at it. It's been. I dropped cinder blocks on it. You think they're going to do any damage to it?
You're
Go
gonna
for it.
let
Have a good time." That was the point.
You're gonna let the kids play with those? That is lead paint. Do you know how tough those are?
No, the kids were like, "Oh my God, those are antiques." No, they're not. They're Tonka trucks. Beat the shit out of them, kids.
Damn right.
Here's a MAP gas torch and a bottle of lighter fluid. Have a field day.
Here, get those dents out, kids. I bought you a body kit.
See if you can light it on fire. Bet you can't.
Ironically, the funny thing about it is the gray market is such a big market for Hot Wheels that you have people that are actually restore them for a living. They take red lines, they take black walls, and they take something like this, and one or two things will happen. If this is a rare model, they'll fully restore it. If it's not a rare model in a sequence, they will use it for parts to restore something else. So some Hot Wheels basically are coveted because how rare they are, because either they were used and abused and got destroyed that there's not many of them left in the wild,
Really?
or they had such a hideous color on them that nobody bought them, so everybody's looking for them because somebody said, well, that's horrible looking, but it made it so exclusive that people went, whoa, man, I want to get that car because nobody had them. So you get different cars. Nobody had them.
This butternut yellow is disgusting color.
Years ago, I knew guys that used to customize Hot Wheels for guys who had cars at the car shows.
Oh.
So you'd show up, a guy's building himself a nice custom Camaro, and this is back in the 90s. Guy builds a really nice custom Camaro, 69 Camaro, and there were guys that say, "Hey, you know what? I'll make a Hot Wheel for you."
Out of your car.
And they would get excited about it.
Hell yeah!
They spend $40 for it because all the guy does is he took it apart, painted it, made it look the same, and then these guys were having fun making them, and the other guy was having a great time getting it, and so then you would see at the car shows a guy has his '69 Camaro, he pops the hood, and sitting on top of the air cleaner is a Hot Wheels of his car, same paint job, and that was the fun thing because
that's awesome.
You had a good time doing it. Everybody had some fun. Then you'd find some of the guys like Gary, they would build the model kits. They would go out and custom build model kits. Years ago, he had a Datsun pickup, and full-size Datsun pickup, and he built a custom Trans Am front end for the truck, and it got into a couple of mini truck magazines. And he built the model kit to show with the truck when he would go to the shows. And that was the fun. That was the whole reason why he just enjoyed doing it. It was a hoot. And it's like, well, I built the model kit. Other people come, hey, can you help? Sure, I'll help you build one of your cars. All right, fine.
Oh, yeah.
But it was fun in those days. It was a kick.
Well, I mean, it really, imagination and, it's creativity. It's all of the things that, you're hoping for.
It's totally crazy because it's gotten to a point where you're restoring Hot Wheels in the level of a full restored car. When you look at the videos and you look at them, you think this is a toy, a
Not the
99-cent toy.
electrical, yeah.
A little look. But what they do, they'll take something like this. This is what's called a paint bomb.
You're just gonna
A
keep
little kid
pulling
took it
cars out of your ass for this entire thing.
and well, I'm ready for this discussion. Let's say.
Dude, go. I'm just giggling. I'm not.
It just that this here, a lot of people will overlook it because kid painted it.
Yeah.
It was painted back in '70s. They loved it. They enjoyed it. It's metal. It's a die-cast material.
All I can hear is
But
the A-Team theme. Kind
of, and you got it. That is the 18. They're just missing the red and the stripe on it. But what happens is somebody will take this and can fully restore this to look like the original van that it was, because it's all metal. It doesn't have a plastic chassis. This is the old killer van with the flames on it. It's an earlier casting.
Ghost
So these are
flames.
with side effect. Well, this van was originally. Hold on a second.
Seriously, you have the before and after?
I have the original.
He's in heaven. This is like the best day ever for him. Oh, his dog.
Well, no. There's some stuff on it, but this is where I have a lot of stuff. Watch this. This.
Oh my God! It's the same one. You're right. It's got the sunroof.
It is the same.
And does it have the? Does it have it? It's
Yep.
Pretty much
this is
the
it.
Same one. Yeah. Wow.
This is an original one, still uncut, unpunched. So this one here,
unmolested.
Unmolested, because
unkiddified.
Unkiddified. Well, here, what they mean by punched is right up here on the card.
Huh?
You know that little hole like this up here, this, where they punch it
to hang it.
to put it in a hanger. That's never been punched, so it's never been out of the box. So this here, for this killer van, this little van over here, is the same one as this one right here. But they make replacement tires, they make replacement glass, they make replacement decals, so I can restore this back looking to exactly like this.
Probably.
If I don't want to spend a couple hundred, this is about $1,000 for this.
Really? That's $1,000.
Yeah.
You can get $1,000 from a collector for that.
Well, it's unpunched, it's on there, so I could get some good money off it. It's all depending on what somebody would buy, but it's unpunched, it's not folded, the card's straight up, it's an actual Hot Wheels original card, and there's no discoloration to it, and there's no bluing or warpage. So it's a good rated card, and in fact, I always wanted to send it to CRC to get it. The same people that rate comic books can rate Hot Wheels.
Really?
But I'm afraid it'll get damaged in shipping.
Better to just take it to them when they come at a convention.
When they come in, yeah. When
convention, not the fluff convention. That's why it's like, I believe you, because that's like finding a Spider-Man number 10 or number 1 where Guardians of the Galaxy number 1 is worth $50 now. Last I checked.
Oh, that's because,
2 years
yeah, it's because of the movie.
I have 2 of them.
What happens with that is it's supply and demand, and what a lot of people don't realize is, going back to the treasure hunts, with the treasure hunts, you get a lot of people that do treasure hunts, and you get people that just, the resellers, just like they did in the 90s. You had people that came in, went into all the Toys R Us, and wanted to grab the treasure hunts to put them out on eBay and sell them. But what happens, just like the comic books, people all bought number 1s to sell them to think they could retire on.
Yeah.
Well, the bubbles burst on them. But however, the market changed on Hot Wheels, because Hot Wheels created Super Treasure Hunts, created Z-Max, created other chase cars that it made it hard for those people, the resellers, to get their hands on, because they wanted the true collectors to have them, the true people who love Hot Wheels. Yeah. So Hot Wheels changed the format of the cars and how they put the treasure hunts out to make it harder for them to find them. Because they didn't want scalpers. I call them they're equivalent to scalpers. Those people that do it just for the money, they don't have the love of Hot Wheels. All they're doing is scalping Hot Wheels, scalping comic books, scalping whatever it is.
They're the reason that Toys R Us has to lock up the Tickle Me Elmo Cabbage Patch Kid of the year every year, because they'll just go there, buy them all, fuck everybody. I can get double, triple, quadruple this on eBay. I can let them fight over it. It's the same thing. It's interesting for comics, the McDonald's toys. Now I'm learning Hot Wheels, Matchbox cars, but this is also Beanie Babies and the craziness that involved Beanie Babies in the 90s. So now you don't even hear the word Beanie Babies anymore.
Well, you know what is happening to now? You know who kind of replaced Hot Wheels? Is Lego. Legos are being locked up now. Kits are being locked up now. What happened with Hot Wheels was because of the mass problems, like in Toys R Us when you worked there, that it caused the manufacturers with the retailers such an issue, because retailers would have a problem of people going in, taking stuff off the shelf, wandering into the back room, and asking the other people's employees, "Hey, I'll pay you $10 if you pull out all of these from the boxes." That a lot of like Walmart and stuff limit the Hot Wheels they put out, and they put cameras in front of the Hot Wheels. Well, the same problem that's happening with Walmart and with Targets right now. They're doing it to Lego sets.
Okay.
Now Legos are behind lock and key.
Yeah. Really? Okay. 2012, 2013, 14. I worked there for like four or 5 years, 4 or 5 seasons. I got hired. You know what? Gives a shit. But Lego not only is a large part of every shipment, and this is Toys R Us. We're getting kids' beds and baby formula and Lego. Lego is so intertwined in. Lego has the most displays in the store and the most marketing area because Lego has divided itself into so many divisions. On top of an entire fucking staff working all night long, and somebody eventually has to go do Lego, every other week, Lego sends a person who shows up at like midnight or 1 in the morning and makes sure that we've put everything out correctly. Most of them were hot, but other than that, lady, fuck you. Of course I did my job. That's what I'm paid to do. But you're right. Lego is very, very regimented. There's no mistakes. Yep. There's no guesses. There's no, this goes here. Okay. It's not like the other, hey, I ran out of space. Just shove it over there. Or yeah. Lego's different.
No, Lego took a page out of the Hot Wheels and Mattel book. What they're doing right now is what Mattel did in the 2000s, exactly to the T. Because they're literally taking something. Because if you remember, if you really think of what happened in culture at the time, cross-pollination, Hot Wheels was being marketed like crazy. It was everything. It was in movies, TV, subliminal. People didn't realize it in certain things. Like, I give you an example. Have you seen Green Lantern, the one with Ryan Reynolds?
Yes.
Hot Wheels advertisement. He makes a whole track, a construct, and he falls into a niche eater. That is a track for Hot Wheels. That is an advertisement in a comic book movie. And they had other ones like that.
Great cast, but you should have spent another year writing that because you really rushed through. There's a lot of movies that are like, oh my god, this doesn't make any sense. You can't do it this way. Or if you are we're gonna make a 3-part movie, then make 3 movies. Or the worst thing they did is M. Night Shyamalan's Unbreakable, Split, and Glass, which is hilarious if you say it all together. But it's Unbreakable, Split, Glass. The problem is that Unbreakable is an amazing comic book movie, but Split is a movie about a psychotic and somebody with multiple personalities, but the comic book guy doesn't show up to the end. So it's basically just women being tortured. So it's like, dude, where's the interaction throughout the, oh, well, he gets near him at one point. Well, you're going to have to do a little more than that for comic fans. You just made this a drama, you know. And then the third one, Glass, you finally get to see what happens to Mr. Glass, that he's in. But the ending of the movie, because the way he made it is the birth of the hero, the rise of the hero, and then the death of the hero. There's no rise. It's just his son telling that they've been on patrol. And the best part of the movie isn't made. You know, I don't really want to see Split torturing the women. I'd rather watch Bruce Willis going through the city streets trying to find bad guys. Granted,
no kidding.
Granted, he's not going to be a very easy bad guy to find, but neither was the janitor in the first movie. The guy in the orange suit cleaning Grand Central, or the subway.
Well, to go back to what I was saying is that...
Sorry. I went away from Matchbox. I'm sorry.
Well, the hidden thing was, what people don't realize is, like with Hot Wheels and like with Lego, you had Hot Wheels in movies and so forth that push sales. The kids, they had that Green Lantern car set. Everything that you see with the marketing and stuff with Hot Wheels, with Barbie, with dolls, Lego, because when you worked, Lego wasn't protected like it is now. You could get sets, you could come up the shelf, you can grab it. They had the little things. Now it's even worse because in the last couple of decades, you had Lego video games, Lego Star Wars, Lego Indiana Jones.
Lego
you
Batman,
had all these,
Lego.
Batman. There you go. Then you had the movies, the Lego movie. Then you had the BC.
Awesome. I love that movie.
Awesome. So now Lego, they have contests, everything. So everything like Hot Wheels, they did the same thing because Hot Wheels. Ironically, when Hot Wheels were commercials and they were put into movies, you had people doing racetracks where you actually had competitions. Where right now, if you look at, not to mention, look at 3D Bot Master, where they race Hot Wheels, custom Hot Wheels on the track, and they do it as a spoof. But people bring in and send in Hot Wheels to them to race on the track to see if they can make comparison. It's called 3D Bot Maker. It's such a big following, and I was surprised that I found them. So it has like a even underculture that people are following for different Hot Wheels techniques, these racing, all this customization of Hot Wheels. It's grown more than just the Hot Wheel itself. That manufacturers make and produce parts so you can restore your favorite Hot Wheel to showroom condition that you never seen before years ago. 10 years ago, none of this was available. Now I can go to the internet and go to Redline and buy parts for my Hot Wheels.
That's pretty awesome.
I could buy wheels if I want to customize my Hot Wheels like you would get in the models. Right now, it's crazy.
Well, I want to go back to comic book heroes that own vehicles because those were being sold at Toys R Us. But the biggest set were Batman sets for the car area. And I would have to say that not having any numbers, not having any statistics, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are the only other ones that have a van also. It's not like the Punisher's van. It's not filled with weapons and explosives. But that one sold quite a bit as well. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Actually, if you think about it, it's even more than cross-pollination. Is that you get more newer ones like Greenlight, M2, modern day type of Hot Wheels and the diecast that buy copyrights or look for copyrights to make their own vehicles. Like, what show was this car from? Where is it?
Starsky and Hutch.
Correct.
That's Starsky's car, isn't it?
That's Starsky, yep. It's Starsky and Hutch. It's made by Greenlight, and it's done exactly like the model. So you get a lot of people, they own the copyright to this, and they produce this car. Ertl makes a model of it. This is old Starsky and Hutch. They make other movie and TV cars. Like you can get the car from Supernatural. Or one of my favorite. Now, Hot Wheels
60,
owns a lot of TV rights. They went and spent money on it. So now the Batmobiles.
Impala?
Yeah, it's 67.
Is it a 67 or a 68? The Supernatural
67.
car.
67.
You have one, don't you?
67 Impala. No, but like this is Hot Wheels. Now,
can't see it.
They will make a specialty series for the collectors. So these are made with much more greater detail. This is what I call an in-between one. These are about a $5 to $7 Hot Wheel.
It's the power of love
This is
right
a
there.
Hot Wheel. Back to the Future.
Great movies. All three of
Great
them.
movies.
Great.
So Hot Wheels has the right, even to the license plate, to make a DeLorean, a Back to the Future one. They have it for another one of my favorite movies.
Ghostbusters.
And they own the copyrights for it, too.
Yeah, hey, I guessed correctly. Damn, I'm good. Why can't I get the lottery
Ghostbusters.
numbers? Why is it always geek trivia? Oh.
It's the only thing we're really good at, but...
Why is there no game show for this besides Jeopardy? Oh, Alex Trebek is dead. I hate the future. All of our heroes are gone. Anyway.
But with Hot Wheels, I mean, it's infiltrated such a market that it's in the naming culture that you find it in all specialty shops. Now, Hot Wheels has become the cornerstone. And ironically, it never was the cornerstone to begin with. But since it infiltrated so much at so many times in the pop culture, that now it is. Because Lindsay, Tomica, Matchbox was all there before. And Hot Wheels was a newcomer, was the new kid on the block. But it took it to the next level. And Matchbox and everyone followed. They're chasing Hot Wheels now because they introduced kids to all this. They brought in collectors. They got in the rights to make duplicates of show cars, of heroes cars. So now you can make, like, they make an Ant-Man car. Ant-Man don't have a car, but they could sell it to a kid like Ant-Man.
If he needs to
He
get
doesn't need a
somewhere,
car.
he'll just become 30 stories high and walk there.
Correct, but the reason is the kid who likes Ant-Man will buy it because it's like an action figure to them.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't exist in the comic books, but it generates sales.
I know I've got... Beth and Willow and Chip got me this shirt. It's awesome. For my birthday that was a while ago. Damn it.
Awesome.
I think it's on the other side of the room. I have a Joker car that's the goofy... I think it was a Burger King Kid Mill. It's like light green and it has the Joker's face for the grill. Kind of like the Maximum Overdrive Green Goblin truck. Which
they make that
I don't
one.
know why that isn't more popular, but then again, this is the world we live in.
Well, they do. It is popular, but it's considered like a treasure hunt.
Yeah.
You can find them, but you have to go to the toy conventions for it because it's considered an exclusive movie car. It's like the Mad Max car. They have certain exclusive versions of that car. Now, go through all that to show you this. Okay. Now, this here, again, the Batman car 66.
Hot Wheels.
Yes, sorry about that. Hot Wheels, and it's the Batman 1966 Adam West car.
Okay.
This one is in exact proportions as the one in the show. They have the 100% reproduction rights in this scale to make the car.
What was?
Where
I'm having
the Corgi is not.
I'm having internet connections. I hope this is... Like and subscribe. Sorry about my internet connections if this is messed up. We've been on for an hour and 24 minutes now. Please continue, guys. Sorry about that.
No problem. No
Keeps
problem.
giving me the reconnect to player.
Hopefully don't. What happened was, for certain reasons and stuff, whether with the history of this car, goes on to something else. They couldn't reproduce it because they didn't own 100% of the rights of it. Because if you notice something on this car, you know what's missing?
No, just no. It's hard to
The
see.
Batman logo. The Batman logo.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's not on there anywhere.
It's not on there anyway. So it's a rendition of the Batmobile. But since it's 80% like it, it's not 100% like it. You can get away with it. Where Hot Wheels got the exclusive rights. So when you see this one, I'm sorry about the glare. I'm going to try to tilt it. It has the Bat logo
On the
and it's
door.
black with red with a little stripe. It is just like the one that's driven in the show.
Does it have white walls?
So it's got chrome rims on it, just like
rims.
the with Black Sunshine.
Wait.
Just like
Oh, go ahead.
Mhm.
Please.
it's just like the one in the show. And I have another casting somewhere at a package. So they own the copyright to make all the Batmobiles.
Wait a minute. So what? The Batmobile is based on the Ford Fury?
No, the future something on it.
Futura.
Futura. There you go, the Futura. And that's only the 1966 Adam West one. It's actually a show car, the Futura, that they sold to
Lincoln Futura. It's a Lincoln.
Yep,
And they
Lincoln Futura.
modified it. I watched a whole documentary on the original Batmobile because I'm like, why the hell not? This looks neat. And sure enough, they're like, we took the car and we did this, and it was like, okay.
Excuse me, sorry. So with that, the whole thing that's actually awesome about the Futura and how it became and how George Barris took it and made it the Batmobile and constructed it. Now, with those cars, they're worth money, but George Barris owns a piece of that creation. So there's always problem with litigation going on. So when Hot Wheels acquired the rights from DC, they were able to reproduce all the ones at DC. So now Hot Wheels they can make the Tumbler, they can make the Michael Keaton Hot Wheel, the one from Michael Keaton. They can make the one, and I have it from the animated series.
Are you mean
they can make it from?
Yeah, well,
They have.
Yeah, we went
sets.
through our favorite cars, and two of mine are, Batmobile from Michael Keaton and the Batmobile from the animated series. Is that a Hot Wheel or a Matchbox? I'm gonna have to find that.
It's a Hot Wheel.
Is it really?
They're Hot Wheels.
You have it,
Yep.
don't you, guy? Of course he
No.
has it. Why do I even ask?
Well, the thing is, what happens is, and a lot of people don't realize what Hot Wheels does. It's Hot Wheels innovate, so they own all the ones, even from the Batman versus Superman, all the new Hot Wheels, all the new variations of the Batmobile. So any Batmobile that was ever produced or made in cinema, Hot Wheels can make and reproduce and make a copy of it. And they do. They have a collection that has all the Batmobiles made. So you even have the one from the comics originally where it was the convertible. The one with the big Batman front end on it. It's a weird looking one from the comic book. They made that. You can buy an actual one representative of that car. Even from, you love this, even from the Batman series, the black and white one, you can get a special edition Batmobile.
No.
That was like the convertible he drove.
I just found the one I want. It's on Amazon. It's $15 for the one from the 1992 animated series, and it looks just like it. It looks like his. Because I like that one. It doesn't have any logos on it. It's not obnoxious. It's perfect for the 1940s noir Tommy gun fedora suit, the way Batman should be. That's the beauty of Batman in the animated series in '92 with Ditka and.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful car. If you look at it,
yes,
look at the Hot Wheel for what it is, and look at the design. Didn't they match what the cartoon was in live action? If you look at the Hot Wheel, it looks great. It's a great
as
casting.
soon as I get a new job, I'm gonna buy that.
You know, it's what Hot Wheels did, and a lot of people don't realize this, is they did the same thing as the treasure hunts, but they also made them interactive. And I'm going to introduce you to a new thing that Hot Wheels has, and they're kind of doing right now, but they're leading into something else. Here's the movie, The Batmobile, from Batman versus Superman.
I never saw the movie.
Okay. This is the one from Batman versus Superman, the one he drives, and they attack him. When Darkseid was there, and the They start ripping the front end off of it. This is the Ben Affleck one, referred as the Ben Affleck. But this one is different. This is not your ordinary Hot Wheel. This is what's referred as to an ID. There's a chip on the bottom.
Oh.
This is a computer chip. So with software, they have a track. And with a gamepad, you can monitor the mileage and the speed of this car. And you can download a version of this car onto a game, a video game, and use it in the game itself.
Gotcha.
So this thing was marketed like that. When they came out, they were $399. The market on these cars went $799 to $19.99 to $20 or $30 on these type of cars.
Really?
That they started just because they were so hard to find, just like the treasure hunts. Like back when you were working, Bill, they would offer these cars in a regular pack with a Hot Wheel. So just like treasure hunts, they were offered these cars, which are now $20 to $30 cars a piece. These get card that have the chip on it that you can put in a digital track that you can play on your phone.
And you can
rack them out
and work
and
on it.
You could track it and filter on it. And these are race portals, ID cars.
I don't know.
So Hot Wheels is changing stuff. And this, I didn't know about this until a couple of years, and I went, what the heck? And I looked at it and I'm like, that's what that is. It's a computer
you
chip.
Have all the hero clicks and all the umagami or whatever the hell it's called from 10 years ago.
Well,
the Lincoln Futura looks like it should be in one of the Cars movies, talking to Lightning McQueen.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that it isn't.
Well, there
but
was
I'm sure
only one made, and it was made in Italy. You missed out on a perfect opportunity to have like Sacha Baron Cohen come and be this car with a thick Italian accent that nobody can understand. And oh well.
Well, going back to remember the again to go with Hot Wheels, and you brought up a good point. Now, a lot of people don't realize this. Okay, the Shell commercials, the one with the cars,
Chevron.
The Chevron ones. Remember the cars and they're all happy and so forth on it? Okay.
Some of them were happy.
Some of them are happy. Some of them were all like that. Well, that led to the creation of the movie Cars.
It kind of did.
It kind of did. Well, that one came out because Hot Wheels made a variety of lifelike cars before Cars came out that had little eyes and a little thing on it. It wasn't a big seller, but they made it. So it was art. Imitating life, entertainment, art again, because those cars came out and they had like personalities of their own, and it was supposed to be a cartoon, but it only sold up in Europe. Didn't really sell in the United States. It was kind of a failure. Then somehow it came back to life with the Chevron commercials.
It kind of did.
And the Chevron commercials, and you cannot tell me otherwise, that at one time a kid who saw that said, "Hey, that would be great to make a live action cartoon out of. Let's do Cars." Then that's the creation of Cars. Then, ironically, because of the creation of Cars, they have their own line of Hot Wheel-like characters that are like representative in Cars that you can find in the stores right next to Hot Wheels. It went full circle.
Oh, yeah. The
full
Cars,
circle on it.
Cars, play sets, the individual
cars. Everything. Racetracks.
Dirt tracks for Radiator Springs, all of the stuff. Mater's Toy Yard.
A whole generation introduced to a Hot Wheel-like car, not realizing that the origin of it must have been from Hot Wheels or Lindsay back in the day.
Yeah.
It all goes right back to it.
One thing that I was really impressed with, it's still toys, but it's a little bit off the subject, is Barbie is Barbie. And Barbie is huge. But in 2014, they kind of did a new thing where they took Wonder Woman and made her a teenager and teamed her up with Harley Quinn and Batgirl and... oh, who's the other one? A couple of the other DC female characters. And they kind of
they did the Birds of Prey thing. It was a Huntress,
it was
Wonder Woman,
it was more
Poison Ivy,
cartoony.
Yeah, they were like animation.
Yeah.
Style.
And that kind of took off, and so did Monster High. And, because, yeah. So it's always interesting that cars for toys continue to be here. Okay, when you're young, I'm going to change my own oil. I'm not going to let anybody else touch my car, change my oil, because you're not a real man if you change your oil. Then you get older and you realize that your time is pretty fucking valuable. And, well, you can spend 3 hours dragging out all the shit, hoisting up the car. Now, if you're doing it for a Will It Run video, like we're going to do, that's a different story. But if you're doing it for your day-to-day vehicle, just take it to. I took mine to Take 5. They did a great job. They're all very young. Wow, 95. That's a classic. Oh, yeah, I guess it is to you guys, huh?
Yeah.
The only thing my check engine light is on, and the only thing they didn't do right, and no blame, I can't get it on right. The way Ford set up the hose that's connected to the air cleaner that goes like across the front of the vehicle. You need to be like a fucking surgeon, magician, because there's like a pull clamp and then there's these two hoses that are the environmental. You don't want to make sure that you're not polluting the atmosphere with the pollution. So, yeah, that's the only thing they did wrong. Because I drove all the way down to Casa Grande to help Amanda and Ashley out. And I got there and I tried check engine.
Uh-oh.
Oh my God, did they not put the fucking plug back in? No, it's there. Oh, maybe they didn't put the oil filter on. No, it's there. Check it twice. Well, it's sloshed around, but it's pretty much full. You know how you first turn it off and check the... Well, it's full, but it was just on, so the oil's everywhere, you know. So, yeah. $60+ to do it in 20 minutes or 2 hours of your day. Now, if I'm out at the out at the ranch, he's got a lift. Okay. Because that was the whole point of taking it in the first place is I don't have like a proper floor jack. I've got, little floor jack for the road, a traveling floor jack. So I couldn't get the Ranger up high enough to get under there to get to the oil filter. I figured this out after I drained the oil out. So, it'll be fine. Just pour new oil in there, put the plug on there, drive it for a couple weeks, months. It's fine. And then, so yeah, they did a good job.
It's not going to hurt it. It's not going to hurt it. Some people have done that before. Yeah. It just, you can't run too long on it and stuff with the filter with it, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm the type that does my own oil, so I just do my own oil just to make sure that it gets done right.
Yeah. But they can dispose of the oil. They're paid to do this. We talked cars for the whole time. I tried to pitch them this website, or this like and subscribe, folks. So it was fun.
I mean, it's when we talk about stuff that people collect and people go into. When you dig into it, and as I went in to dig in for the Hot Wheels stuff, I found a lot of other stuff that people never consider or never went into, because the history of it that happened, it's all causality. What happens in Hot Wheels didn't exclusively happen to Hot Wheels. It created other things that happened with it. It just Hot Wheels seemed to be the catalyst to it, because a lot of the stuff we enjoy right now, like the certain type of cars, the aftermarket, the secondary gray market, all this other stuff became because of progress and everything happened to it. So stuff that were Hot Wheels, just the initial sell of Hot Wheels, you think, oh, it's nothing. But what it created in the pulp culture, and how much is a pulp culture, it's so marketable. It's like Coca-Cola. Not all cola is Coca-Cola, but all cola is referred as Coca-Cola.
It's a Coke.
Coke.
Even though it's Pepsi.
It's Coke. Even though it's Pepsi, it's all refers to Coke. It's Coca-Cola.
No, hold
Same
on.
thing with Hot Wheels.
Can I quote? No, can I support? Can I
Yeah,
support
sure.
what you are saying by quoting Wikipedia?
Sure.
So it
Yeah.
says that they started in 53, but one of their first biggest selling items was Queen Elizabeth's coronation coach.
And that was a Matchbox. Matchbox or Lindsay?
That was Matchbox, but that just supports what you're saying, where vehicles are also part of our pop culture. As much as car guys don't want to consider themselves geeks, oh my fucking god, yes, you totally geeks, because they're connected to culture. Because I'm glad we're talking about this, because I've been working on this theory, but I'm not done with the theory. So here's the unfinished theory. Cars in the 20s are small because we're just making them. Cars in the 30s, they're not much bigger, but they're grandiose. Cars in the 40s get a little more compact. Cars in the 50s look like rockets. Cars in the 60s look like the in-between of the 40s and the 50s, really, but more stretched out. Then you get to the 70s and they get a little bigger or they get a little smaller. But in the 80s, we're back to the 40s now. We're compact. We're small. We're little. We're not wasting our time with big giant fenders and bullshit like that. Then in the 90s, we kind of get more streamlined and aerodynamic. But to quote Marv from Sin City, modern cars look like electric shavers. So that kind of goes on with the theme, where it isn't until the PT Cruiser, what's the one you had? The HHR? And
Well,
the Caliber, which we leased
you-
one for a while. That
on
was
to
an awesome
something?
car.
You're onto something, but you don't realize that
History.
people already describe this. It's called generational. And what happens is
Yeah.
everything you describe is generational. If you look exactly everything on it, there's a timeline and a through line of things. Art Deco cars in the 20s were basically, you had motorcycles became automobiles. Those teen cars were built out of coaches. They look like a coach. They look like a stagecoach. Then you move into the 20s and stuff, you get a little bit more industrial age. So they become more Art Deco, of the Art Deco design basically in the 20s. Then you have airplane construction. Then when you get to the 40s and 50s,
yeah.
they take an aeronautical look at it. Okay? So they look like airplanes. They take cues from jets, rockets, space age. When they get into the 60s, it becomes streamlined. Also, airplanes, rocket ships, moon missions.
Yeah.
Then you get into the 70s and they become a little bit more modern. But they start flipping back in the 60s to the early types of the cars with the big fins. And it repeats itself every 20 years. Like, for example,
I would agree. No, because like the 442 and the SS68 and a lot of even the Galaxy and stuff, they're very sexy in the late 60s. These are big engines, big obnoxious engines, which are the best things ever. And
what
what
was happening in the 60s? The space race.
Sputnik.
Rocket engines, turbines, everything. The inside of the cars look like a cockpit of a spaceship or an airplane.
Okay.
Even Stuart Warner, the gauges you had in hot rods and racing, were modeled out of gauges out of airplanes. So a lot of stuff that you see in engineering with the cars moved on.
Yeah.
So look at this. It's like you went into the muscle car era.
Well,
But what happened? What happened in 2004, 2005? Mustang, Dodge.
Yeah. Resurgence.
They released a resurgence.
Yeah.
You have the Challenger and the new Camaro. The Challenger is a representation of the 1970 model that they had.
Yeah. No, I agree with this, because I've got
It
the
came right
Motor
up.
Trend magazine somewhere. In '86, there was a resurgence where they were making the Cobra shells, the Shelby Cobras, and putting them on. I can't remember. I think it was Camaros. Was it Camaros they were putting them on?
No. They were Fat Five. They were actual continuation from you have two different things. You have a kit and you have a continuation done by Shelby. Authorized CX cars from Shelby of America. They went back into production. So going back to what I was saying, same thing happened to Hot Wheels. It came back 20 years, 30 years later. There was a renaissance with it again.
Yeah, I would agree.
And it always happened. Like the small cars. A lot of people don't realize this. Okay. What happened in the 70s that affected cars in the market? And Rob and everyone say, the gas crunch.
Well, yes. Okay. You want to get super political with history because you have the Iran-Contra affair, but...
Yeah, but without getting that political, was the introduction to the European small cars.
You want to open that can of worms with me.
Correct. But to the point was, in the market, small cars were introduced.
Yes.
Your Toyotas, your Nissan, and so forth were introduced in the market. Well, that Ford, Chevy, and stuff introduced their small cars.
But you already had Hellman, you already had MG, you already had...
They weren't American.
They're not American. They're smaller cars. It's the...
Yeah, but they didn't make an inroads into the United States because of the failures of the British car manufacturer. In the 70s, in the early 70s, British car manufacturing fell off because of problems with labor and whatnot. So we couldn't get them here, and the quality levels had fallen off so much in the late 60s into the early 70s. You couldn't sell the British cars, the small British cars in the United States until the late 70s, the early 80s, when Triumph started to make a comeback with their TR7 series.
Yes.
But even with that, they couldn't sell enough to save Triumph. So that became a major failing point. But the United States, the U.S. car manufacturers had to do two things. One, they knew they couldn't compete early on with the Japanese. So they started buying Japanese vehicles and rebadging. And then they had to create their own models because when we hit the 80s and Chrysler got their hat handed to them, then Lee Iacocca had to come back with the new K-Car series. And he really brought that back and made it profitable because he was able to develop...
They were good
basically
cars.
Took the Japanese... Well, he took the Japanese designs. It's a very simple design. It's a unibody construction. We're going to do front-wheel drive because it's a very simple system to build. I can make the interior... I can basically make what the British should have been selling, which was a TARDIS. It's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. People love it because I can fit 4 fat people into a K-car a hell of a lot more comfortably than I can fit 4 fat people into a Vega.
Or a Hillman or a Pacer.
Yep.
Or the best... You want... British cars are what they are, but the Dr. No is a perfect example of Porsche and Alfa Romeo are much bigger than any of the MG Midgets or Triumphs or the Sun, all of those. But also...
Actually, the ones he drove in Dr. No and stuff is a lot smaller. If you actually been in those, they're a lot smaller comparable to an MG. So older Porsches, when you get to the bathtub, when you get to the Porsche, were small European cars. The problem with them was, like when Rob was in the market, failure rate with the Lucas lighting and the electrical. They were small individual cars that they couldn't handle the market because they were made for closer inlet roads. They were made for driveways that were smaller. So the cars are micro in comparison to this. You take an MG, an early model MG, and put it up against like a 53 Corvette. The 53 Corvette's huge compared to the MG. That most people couldn't fit in an MG. No. Your head would be over the roll bar. You would be so uncomfortable in it. They were made for little people
trying to get into
in the European market.
It's like trying to get into a Fiero or a Miata. They're great cars, but you hate fat people. Fuck you guys.
Yeah, the B-Series MGs were the only ones that had any kind of reasonable sales in the United States based on size because The interior of the vehicle was much larger than most folks expected. It had a small 1500cc, 1200cc on the early series motors, so they didn't have a whole lot of power. They were a small car. The thing that made them fun was that the MGA and then the MGB series became popular with British car aficionados who couldn't afford the Jaguar XK series. They couldn't afford an XKE. They couldn't afford any of those cars. So they looked at it and they said, well, I can buy an MGB for $2,000 or $3,000. And it's fun. I'm close to the ground. It's like riding in a go-kart, literally. You feel like you're doing 100 miles an hour when you're doing 55 on the highway. So it has that feeling that you're going with your hair on fire. But it couldn't keep up. Where they made their mark in European racing was the fact that the Corvette could outrun an MG all day long on the straights. But the second you got into the chicanes, the MG dropped in below it because it weighed less and it could spin faster. It could go into the corners and it could cut past it through the corners until you got to the back straight. Then the Corvette could catch up again and run past. So the MGs, the Crosleys, the Minis. The Minis were a nightmare for the guys running the big American cars when they were trying to race in European road races, because the Minis, those little 1200, 1400 motors, they get them to spin high. They get them to spin all kinds of RPMs, and they would just run them out. They run them to the extreme down the streets, but they could hold that same speed into the chicanes where you had a Corvette. You had to stamp the brakes hard so you could pull that thing down slow enough to get through the chicanes. And these little British cars squirt right past you.
Yeah. And to go with Rob's saying, a lot of people don't realize this. But when I point it out, you start looking at it. It wasn't only when Jaguar and Nissan, it happened to other cars, came into the U.S. market that they created the 2+2. And what the 2+2 was an extended wheelbase. Back in the early 70s, the 240Z became the 260 and 280. They had an extended platform, a stretched out one for bigger, taller people, and they also put a back seat into it. Same thing with Jaguar, where the XKE. They had a Jaguar that was extended, so they can put a bigger engine in it to compete with the Corvette. Datsun did it, Nissan did it, Toyota did it, created a 2+2 model for the U.S. market to compete with that. Then it became standard, and a lot of people don't realize that if you took a Fairlady Z and a 280Z, the 280Z is slightly stretched, especially if it's a 2+2, in comparison to a Fairlady Z that you would have got out of Japan. Same thing with the Jaguar from Britain. You take an XKE versus one that's extended, it's a lot longer, and it may have from a V8 to a V12 engine in it versus the XKE from Britain.
Well, and the other thing, the U.S. tried to protect the sports car market by taxing. So if you were importing a sports car, a two-seater sports car, they added certain tariffs and taxes. So the manufacturer said, okay, the MGB GT was basically was a full hardtop sports coupe from MG. It had a back seat. Now, you couldn't fit a toddler in the back seat, but technically it had a back seat that folded down the whole 9 yards. It was a full back seat. That made it an
adult in there.
+2.
A drunk
exactly. It was a 4-seat car, so it could not be taxed on import as a 2-seat sports car. And that became the big thing. Porsche started doing that with some of theirs. They would put little jump seat pads behind the seats. And I think that the 912 was the first one with the jump seats in the back. And that was one because you could do it quickly. You put it out there and said, no, it's a 4-seater car. And nobody looked at it to say, bullshit, that's a 4-seat car. They said, no, it says technically it's got 4 seats.
It's a full seat. Right.
Yeah, technically, if I put a pillow in the back, it's a pickup truck. You know,
it's big enough to put a baby back there. That's about it.
That's the same reason why the Subaru Brat, when the Brats came, they put seats in the back. They bolted seats in the back of the Subaru Brat in the bed, so they could make it a 4-seat vehicle.
Those were
and that way they could get it past the
Yeah.
taxation.
Those were cute. Those were a good off-road vehicle, but you don't want to drive that every day. You want to drive that when you're going up mountain trails and out at the dunes.
Well, the point was it was inexpensive. You could produce the vehicle cheaply, and you could sell it. That was the same reason why the Ford Courier was the Mazda pickup. The original Courier was a Mazda pickup.
No argument. Yes,
And-
it was.
What was it? The original Dodge E50s were Mitsubishis.
Yeah.
And Chevrolet had bought what? The Nissan, the Datsun.
Well, I know they had Opel.
rebadged them. Well, they had bought the Opals because they could get those as the two-seaters, but they couldn't sell them very well because of support.
Yeah.
They were great little two-seaters, but you couldn't get material support in the United States for those vehicles. But I thought that GM had bought for a time one of the Japanese small pickup trucks because it was a quick way to get the vehicle in. Ford did it, Chrysler did it, GM did it. You could-
Yeah, Isuzu.
was it the little Love series?
Chevy
Isuzu.
Love.
That's a Isuzu pickup truck, and they created the Chevy Love. It was originally an Isuzu, which later
Right.
became the S10. They are Isuzu pickup trucks.
Yeah, so you had those three series until each manufacturer spun up their own versions where they could carry it forward. That's when the Courier became the Ranger, the Love became the S10, and the D50 ended up taking longer, but it became the Dakota series.
Well, GMC brought out the Sonoma, which is the S10.
It's still
Right.
the
It's the
Isuzu.
S10.
Yeah, it was the same series vehicles.
It's the
And so that was
S10.
the whole point behind all of that, and that was their ability to bring that in. They were smart enough to know these guys are already building it. If I buy from them and I rebadge it, I don't have to pay as much to build it.
Mhm.
I spend them a little bit of money. Product comes into the United States. Everybody gets happy because we can start
Still
reaping some of the reward of people being willing to purchase smaller vehicles. They're willing to pay the money. They're willing to pay a full-size price for a smaller vehicle.
Yeah. I am in full support of the tiny truck, and I drive the the little Red Ranger around, and guys in giant trucks snark at me, and I've said it before at Home Depot and many other places. You don't always need a big stupid truck. I have bigger trucks, but this is the everyday truck. I don't need to drive the big truck every day. That's for the big
Well,
jobs.
and what's funny, for a long time, Toyota built 1-ton chassis trucks on their little platform. And you could buy commercial version, you could buy with a heavy set rear axle with a dual set of tires. That was sold on the commercial side. But for a long time, J.C. Whitney had the dual kits for all the mini trucks.
Yeah.
So you could convert your Toyota, your Datsun pickup truck, your Isuzus, your Mitsubishis, any of those, you could set it up with a set of full duals on the rear, put a platform on the back, and you had a flatbed. You could buy upgraded springs. Technically, you had a truck that had a 2,000-pound capacity on a flatbed. You would now have a 1-ton truck.
Yeah.
Shows my age. I remember. I probably still have a J.C. Whitney catalog around.
Are they still around?
Well,
They're still around.
The thing is with the sports trucks, like the little trucks, like the Rangers and stuff, people don't realize that it came from part of it from Australia and Europe were the Utes, were
Yeah.
car chassis used as trucks for better gas mileage because you didn't always need a big truck lugging it around, and it also helps you to transfer goods into areas that you can't navigate a big truck through.
You always need a truck, but you don't always need a big truck.
Big truck.
Well, and the United States started the original utility craze and sent them down to Australia. Who built the first Utes? What would qualify? What would become the Utes?
And
You had
down there.
the Ford came out with the Ranchero,
Mhm.
And
El Camino.
Chevrolet had the El Camino.
I love
And
those.
those were the first of those. But
It's a
prior
car. It's
to
a
that,
truck. It's
there
a car.
were
It's a
in
truck.
the
It's a car.
20s,
Yep.
in
Yeah,
the
it's pretty.
1920s and the 1930s, when you bought a vehicle from, actually more in the 20s, when you bought a vehicle from a manufacturer, you had to go someplace else to have it bodied.
Just hack the
So
back
you would
off.
go to Fisher, and you would have Fisher build the body. So you would go into a dealership and say, I need to buy this.
Yeah.
Okay, who do you want to put the body on it? Because I'm selling you the chassis, the motor, and primaries. You're going to have somebody else. And the chassis shops, I should say the body shops, would then come in, and some of the first utes were actually made by these body shops, these fitters, who would go in because somebody would say, what I really need is I like this front end, I like this motor, it works very well, the chassis does everything I need. But what I need is a commercial truck that I can use to go carry things in the city. We got you covered. Here's the body. Here's the back end. So the original TTs and the original AA truck from Ford were some of the first from the manufacturer. And you had the body, the actual body manufacturers who were doing it for anybody. There were a number of truck manufacturers who built the chassis, sent them out to a body fitter, and there are one-off. Here it is. This is the only short bed, single cab version of this particular vehicle that was ever built.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the sport utes were were WTs, work trucks, and just like Rob was saying, were special ordered. Now think of this: think of all the mail trucks that are out there that you can't buy; they're exclusively for mail. Think of all back in the 50s and the 40s, all the milk trucks.
Yes.
The milk trucks were a shortened version of a big truck, but they were going down the streets and back alleys, so they needed a small truck. So they had the tops on them. Later on, they took the tops off and made beds for them.
Yeah.
So they were shortened, big trucks to make deliveries in it, but in narrow, closed locations. So think in New York, when down the back alleys, you can't bring an 18-wheel in there. You can't bring a UPS truck down there. You bring in a small truck.
Fisher Body has been around since 1908. They manufactured tanks for World War I and World War II. And it was always cool to see to see their emblem inside when you opened the door. It was right there, above the rocker panel and on the inside out of Detroit. So a little bit of history there. Like and subscribe. This is episode 32, guys. We're rocking and rolling.
We're rocking and rolling. We're going putting it out there. I mean, when you look at stuff like Hot Wheels or anything, you find out that it's all connected. Going back to what you're saying, the thoughts on it, the generational Hot Wheels, comics, it becomes connected. That one feeds into the other, that feeds into the other, that feeds into it. So like going with the Hot Wheels, you see it now, it's introducing to new kids who can't get off their phones. Now you get an interactive Hot Wheel that you can play in a three-dimensional space on your phone. So you look at it and like, man, it bridged the gap that you took from diecast to make diecast racing to all this to go on that. So it spans a lot of things more than just one. When I looked at Hot Wheels and I started doing the research for this, I looked at it. It has its fingers in so many different pies, and it cross-pollinates with so many things in pulp culture. I was like, you have watches that have Hot Wheels logos, that have Hot Wheels design, clothing, everything comes back to it. You had cereal, Hot Wheels cereal. Now, you can get Batman cereal, but they had Hot Wheels. Everything marketable that you can find
oil and a thrown.
What did they taste like? Who knows? But Hot Wheels cereal, and I was like, my God. Think of all that.
I put a couple of sites in the chat for the Steam Room because I was looking as we were going through. There's an interesting market out there for 1/64th scale components and being able to do customs and things like that. Because you were talking about bread trucks and milk trucks, semi-cab overs and cab overs and bits and pieces like that. For a long time, you could get the cab overs from Matchbox. But there was, for a time in the 90s and the early 2000s, there were a couple of semi-cab openers, milk trucks, and things like that that were being done as customs in the Hot Wheels lines. And now, some of these outfits, you can come up with all kinds of bits and pieces. And there were a couple of shops that I saw that were 3D print shops. That's all they do. You want it, we'll make it. 1/64 scale, you could add it to anything you could want. You want to have a 1954 Humpmobile semi-cab over milk truck body for your 1/64 scale. You get them the picture, they'll make the file and print it for you, and now you've got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pete's got a 56 Chevy milk truck out there, and everybody wants it. Anybody that comes out, wow, a milk truck, and then they talk about it for like 5 minutes.
Well, the funny thing, like with the milk truck, is in Hot Wheels, it is really coveted as a custom.
Really?
That there's so many customs of the milk trucks, or even like Suburbans like yours, or classic cars like that, that people put their logo, their paint job, their engraving, and have them specially made or ordered for their businesses. So the biggest thing is, you look at it, it's the panel that they have. It's coveted in the Hot Wheel industry. So when you go to shows, you go to find them. And any hobby, any club and stuff, it's one of the flagships for Hot Wheels is those type of old trucks, because they're so nomenclature that anybody wants it. They identify with it. They know what it is. It has room for marketing where you can put your logo on it, and everybody loves them. And you can find them like crazy. I can give you pictures on pictures on pictures of different type of customs just using an old milk truck, a bus, or a mail truck.
It's interesting how many people identify milk trucks with stories from the past. It's another part of the, nostalgia that we've been going on and on about today. But I think you're right 100% that cars and toys of cars have a deep and profound impact on not only geek culture, but it spills, like you said, you've been using the term cross-pollinate a lot tonight. And I have to agree with you 100%. I'm sorry, you've convinced me that car culture is part of... Because if you're in the Tokyo Drift thing, or if you're in the little Rice Rocket, motorcycle, Yamahas and Suzukis and Hondas, or if you're into Harleys and stuff, I really like bikes, but we live in Arizona where it's really dangerous to ride a motorcycle, so you just don't get excited about it. Even Pete's youngest son got some money, got a motorcycle. Guess what happened?
Boom.
Yeah, somebody crashed into him. Why? For some bizarre reason, all of the worst drivers in all of the 50 states come to Arizona to live and dwell and make their life among the populace that live here normally. And they're horrible. They're awful. And they cause all kinds of mayhem. And the problem is that I would love to see statistics, but we're probably rather high, whether it's Phoenix or Scottsdale or whatever, as far as motorcycle accidents, because they just don't look. They just...
They don't look.
Yeah, it might be higher in Illinois or Chicago or New York or LA, but Phoenix has got to be up there. I don't know what the numbers are. Hopefully somebody will know. But what's really interesting is the 66 is covered in primer. I need to fix the two front fenders. But people, hey, what year is that? Everywhere I go, and it freaks me out because, it's ugly. It's not, she's not ready to go out clubbing yet, dude. This is the morning after when we're sneaking to
It doesn't matter. Bill, let me blow your mind on something real quick. and we're gonna go back to something that Rob said
Sure.
with 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 Ed Roth
Who?
and the famous character he created, Ratfink.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Ed Roth was a car builder, but he also was an illustrator.
Mm.
So this is how the rabbit hole goes and stretches far. Is that he was building cars, but he was building really strange cars. But he was also, to make money for his cars, were painting shirts, airbrushing shirts, where he created the Ratfink. Now, a lot of people don't realize that Ratfink became a popular culture in the monster zeitgeist. It had an association with monster cars and trucks. It has association with Hollywood monsters and themes at the time. Also with car culture.
I would agree.
So what happened? It spread itself out so far that people don't realize this. That monster design and how he drew it was influenced in Creepshow, was influenced in Outer Limits and other stuff when they came back out the second time in the 70s. Creature creations took on characteristics of Ratfink, of those monsters.
Kinda, yeah.
The unskilled proportions, the eerie proportions. That's why we have the term,
Big bulgy eyes.
eeriness.
Yeah.
It went up. It went on.
Willowy
So it went
limbs
into
and-
pulp culture. It went into horror. It went into Fangoria, and it had to do with cars. But that's how far it went. That his creations, the Ratfink, the monsters, the ones with the cars, spawned off into comic books, into movies, into themes, T-shirts, you name it. That it lived on way more than Ed Roth did.
Yep.
So not only did he build cars like the Orbitron and great
He
hot rods back at the time,
he
brought-
writers,
he influenced-
artists.
writers, creators, stories. When you look at it, in certain monsters, you look at it and go, like, perfect example. Look at 1984's The Twilight Zone.
Great movie.
His characters and some of that is very similar to Ratfink and the monsters that he created in design and disproportion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if you look at it, you see how he permeated the culture.
Your
So
trick,
it's more than
Grandpa.
just one item. It's more than just cars. And the Ratfink, also Hot Wheels. They created the Monster Series Hot Wheels
Yeah.
that were designed after Ratfink and monsters that Ed Roth created.
And
They were monsters.
as of 2014, they were still packaged and sold on the shelf at Toys R Us. So,
Yeah.
yes, Guy, good homework.
And also two Monster High School.
Monster High is really neat. It's Barbies, but they're monster.
Correct. But the monster aspects are derivative of Ratfink and all their culture. It's
Kind
a
of, in a
blending of
way.
the two coming together.
It's that, and Monster High was cute because they had to adhere to all of the monster. Like,
Yep.
I was watching with the kids when they were really little, and it had first come out, and the werewolves throw a party and they invite the vampires, and the vampires show up and they ring the bell and they're like, hi, and they're like, hi. And the one vampire that's a friend is like, you have to invite them in. Oh my God, I forgot. Yes, please, come on in.
Well, if you look at it, if you look at the
They're
imaging
vampires.
of,
They can't just walk into a building. That's not allowed.
well, if you look at it, and what makes the difference with Ed Roth type of designs is that you have monsters, and it's a horrific design, but it has a very normalized face to it.
Yeah.
You see a werewolf with a big shifter, and he's got his tongue out, and he's shifting gears. It's a werewolf, but he looks like he's having fun. Same thing with Frankenstein, Ratfink. It's all horrific.
Yeah. It's all, but they're enjoying themselves.
But they're enjoying themselves. So it has a stitch of humanity to it. So that's what was so popular with Ratfink in the 70s and 80s and stuff on it, was that you had an idea of a monster, being a monster in the car, the engine, whatever, but it's fun to play with, it's fun to have fun, it's fun to do stuff on
Fun to be
it.
an
So you see that
anti-hero.
in all of it. You can, when you really look at it, you go, man, I can see where they got the design because they were inspired by that.
Yeah.
Which if you trace back, nobody made designs like that until he showed up. Before then,
really.
it was just similar
there was-
ones, pin up girls and stuff like that, but they weren't monsters like they did.
No. And it was probably isolated incidents. Like, I don't want to replicate the Green Goblin semi from Maximum Overdrive, but I think it would be fun to make like a monster car, but it would look like cars.
Hmm.
I think that would be a fun project to do something like that.
Well, the thing they already replicated the truck. They already have somebody that replicated it, that put the Green Goblin and stuff, actually replicated it.
Really?
And they use it when they tour around with the movies and so forth on it. But you also have people that replicated the truck from Smokey and the Bandit. So as long as it hits pop culture and people remember the truck, there's people that already replicated and already made a copy of it.
Smokey and the Bandit, you're watching it for the Bandit, though. You don't really... What is he, the Snowman, the Iceman?
But they replicate it because it's part of the movie. So here's another one.
But hold on. Why do that when you could replicate one of the Highwaymen's? Remember that television show and the...
Yeah, but it's not. But remember what I say.
Parked in my spot. That was great.
Remember when I say culture comes back?
Yeah.
What happens is the people who are replicating these cars aren't people old enough to watch it. They're people that are finding it for the first time.
You're right, because the Interceptor from the Road Warrior from Mad Max 2 had a huge impact. Not just because it had nitrous. There were vehicles with nitrous in other movies, but because he fucking lived in that car with that dog. That guy has nothing. He's running around the wasteland just surviving. Just him and this dog. And it's a miracle he doesn't kill Bruce Spence's character, the gyro pilot captain. Slow. Partners, you and I, who will later go on to be one of the sharks in Finding Nemo. Sorry about Bruce, mate. He's really a nice guy.
but the funny thing, just to go back to what you were saying, well, that's a perfect example because at that time, those Falcon XBs weren't worth nothing. No, they were just a regular car.
Yeah.
In fact, Mad Max, when they first had it there, they sold it they gave it to the car wrangler, the car who did it, and he sold it. They had to buy it back from him for Road Warrior. Then they bought a couple, they made it for Road Warrior, they wrecked them and sold it to a junkyard.
Yeah.
They didn't care about the cars.
They didn't care about it.
It wasn't until later, 20 or something years later, when people came out, they were like, what happened to them? And they started bringing them back. Now, the funny thing about it, those cars were never worth money.
Yeah.
They were just regular cars and stuff. But because of Mad Max and because of the Interceptor and how popular it became, it made the XB and the Falcons in Australia worth as much as the Shelbys.
Really?
It became they're $100,000 car and up.
Huh. Well,
they're expensive cars now.
It's in this case 20 years gap in 87 where I want to get a 65 Mustang, and I can remember my father going, why? Because he owned a 65 Mustang, and one of the few car accidents he got into as a minor, or as a young adult, rather, that was, Mustangs are light in the back. And then he told me a story about he was coming home, and there was a guy under the bridge in the dark he had like a big, like a Lincoln or a Cadillac. He was stalled across 2 lanes. And my father didn't see him at first. So when he hammered the brakes, it's a rainy night, Philadelphia, 65 Mustang. They locked up and he crashed into the vehicle. And his neck bothered him from that impact the rest of his life. But his thing was, those are kind of crappy sports cars. They don't even go that fast. Kind of like, these are built for girls, kind of thing. And then you don't really kind of pay attention to that or learn that until later, where you're like, oh yeah, Mustangs don't really get balls until 68, 69, when they stopped in 289.
67, 68, 69 were that was the second that was the next body style with the bigger motors.
With the Mach.
That's when
Mach
they started.
170.
Well, that was when they started putting the big Ford Edsel motors in to make the specialty car. So the big FE motors.
Yeah.
So you could get the 390, and then very special expense, you could get the 427 for a while, and then the 428 replaced that.
I don't want to go back in time. A 302 is. But honestly, if you gave me the choice, I'd rather have a 67 Cougar because they're just sexier. I like Cougars better than Mustangs now that I'm 53. now that my perspective has changed. But it's interesting to me how different cars become popular, not just because who owns them, but the movies that they're in.
The movies influence pop culture. Magazines influence pop culture and people.
Yes.
Because a lot of people don't realize is when you think of Chevy, everybody, if I would say your quintessential Chevy that you would love and want, and everybody thinks of a Tri-5, a 55, 56, or 57. And I would say 100% they would be thinking of a 57. But if I said 58, you would be, what?
Not after hanging out with Pete. It's 58 Apaches, baby, all the way. That's all he had.
Yeah. But unless you know about them, pop culture, anyone will go automatically to a 57 Chevy. They've seen it. It's in there. You have on it. And a lot of movies used the 57 Chevy as the quintessential hero car or car in the movie. And it was so done subliminally that people don't realize that you fell in love with the car without knowing that you fell in love with the car because of the movies that you watched.
I would agree with you because it comes back in music in the mid 80s.
Yep.
All they talk about is 57 Chevys.
I'll give you an example.
Cadillacs.
What was the car driven by Patrick Swayze in Dirty Dancing?
It's probably a 57 Chevy. Honestly, I don't remember because
you don't remember, but that was the first movie where girls recognized it as a 57 Chevy.
Okay, I'll give you that. Honestly, the more impactful movie from around the same time period is the 50 Merc lead sled in Cobra. And even though it's chopped, but that's like the apex of really old, awesome vehicles in movies where they're action movies. And
well, I'll give you this. What's the car you think of when I say Hollywood Nights?
That's not fair. That movie is car porn like American Graffiti and kind of on a lesser degree Cobra. Cobra's kind of car porn because most of the people he encounters have Impalas or these other older late 60s cars. Granted, yes, it's the 80s, but comparatively to now, that would be like running into a Ford Taurus where it's like, wow! No, dude, those suck. Don't look at that.
But my question is, why? Because 57 Chevy wasn't the only one. There were other cars he could have had, other vehicles he could have gone. It wasn't the only custom available, wasn't the only make it was available, wasn't the only other car available. But
I can't answer that question because there are so many songs in the early 50s about the Hot Rod Lincoln, the Rocket 88. There's so many other songs and none of them involve 57 Chevys. It's actually kind of like, it's the same thing as explain to me why Marilyn Monroe is so famous besides the JFK involvement, but there are literally a piece of car that are named out, they're called Dagmars for a reason.
Well, yeah. But you want me to tell you why?
And you talk about Dagmar all the time. Yeah, she's awesome.
Well, it's nothing to do about the car. It's to do about the image of it. Let's go back to Cobra for a second.
Okay.
And this is interesting that you said Cobra. Okay.
Cobra.
Okay. If you look at Cobra, something happened with that movie that changed the industry, and you don't even realize what happens. Okay. What is the 50 Mercury known for and as?
It's the lead sled.
Correct.
My father
keep going
said
with that idea.
It was more of like a traveling sedan, like a good, like going on a trip car. before.
Keep going with
It
that
was
idea.
not
Keep
a
going.
hot rod. That's later when they souped it up.
Correct.
Is that
It
what
was
you're looking
never a
for?
hot rod.
No.
It was a lead sled.
No.
They had a 50 Mercury American Graffiti. It was a low rider. It was a lead sled. You wanted to be seen. It wasn't fast. What did they do in Cobra that they never did on any other one that changed the genre? They made it like a muscle car. They made it fast. They made it agile. They made it like a battle tank. Before then, lead sleds were lead sleds.
Yeah.
Low, slow, and glow. Beautiful paint job. Nice interior. LA
Oh my
scene.
God,
It
you're
was like a
right. Sorry,
Mhm.
I keep interrupting.
When was the
all
last
at
time
one
you saw a 50 Mercury that was slammed jumping over
Yeah.
another car?
But that's
When was it that you seen?
Hollywood. That's not real. That's like the General Lee and Dukes of Hazzard peeling out in the dirt. That's not. You can't do that. There's no asphalt.
Well,
around.
but the generally is something different. This is where video and that meets. They made something that was not and created something that what is. Because before then, the Mercury was only seen as a lowrider.
Yeah. No,
Now it's considered as a hot rod.
I will give you that.
Like the generally,
You're
the
right.
generally was. Now look at go to the generally. Look at the evolution of the General Lee. What is the General Lee? What is the purpose of the General Lee? And I'll blow your mind with this one.
Well, are you meaning like in a literary standpoint or in a
No,
vehicle standpoint?
No. In the context of the show, what is the purpose of the General Lee?
It's their conveyance to get away from Roscoe P. Coltrane and his cousin and Boss Hogg. I don't remember.
But why? What
Because
is the purpose of the build of
they're
the General Lee?
doing crime, but they never actually do any crime. The show is
Okay.
quite silly now that I've looked at it later as an adult. To be
Well, a
honest.
lot of people don't realize the purpose of the General Lee was they were moonshiners. This was their getaway car. It was built as a battle tank, but what they did was
Thank you
they
for
changed.
solving a 50-year mystery.
It's a moonshine runner. So if you ever seen moonshine runners, if you ever seen Greased Lightning with
They needed
Burt Reynolds?
fast, lightweight cars that were armored
Cars
in the
to get out.
back and
big trunks that carried the moonshine in,
Stroker
And
Ace kind of thing.
but they liked NASCAR, so hence the Robar and the number on it. So they made their getaway car look like a NASCAR
so
because they're from the South. NASCAR.
Because
So the
there's-
purpose of the General
yeah.
Lee, it's a moonshine car.
Thank you. There's
Their
so many,
love
there's
of
so
NASCAR.
many holes in that plot. Now, Guy, thank you for solving everything.
Well, if you want to go into the history of moonshine, that's where NASCAR came from. NASCAR
There you go.
NASCAR came from moonshiners. The moonshiners used to build their car. They would go out and race each other. Everybody knew who the moonshiners were, and everybody raced to see who had the fastest car, but they raced it unofficially back in the backwoods. And then people started to understand, well, hell, we got to be able to explain why we got these race cars. So they started having dirt track, circle track racing, and they would take these cars out, dirt track, race them. And that was how a lot of these good old boys kind of got through. If they got picked up for running moonshine, well, you know, I'm not in jail anymore, so I still kept the car, and I raced this car. This is my race.
Mhm.
A lot of the early NASCAR drivers, before it was even NASCAR, were moonshine. And the reason I know that is my mother's family name is Jarrett. They're from North Carolina. Nice little town called Startown. My grandfather used to sell moonshine out of his general store. Our family, you know the name Dale Jarrett if you're a NASCAR fan. Dale Jarrett is a relation, distant relation. But the Jarrett family has been running fast cars with a clear liquid in a clear container
Mountain Dew.
in the back of them for a great many years.
Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew. True Mountain Dew.
Wagons. He's my cousin, second removed. On me mother's
But-
side.
But going back to what Rob said, exactly right. So the General Lee became a character of itself, but its initial purpose,
Okay.
people didn't people didn't associate it with it was that generally
Hold
is
on, I'm
set
at.
up like a NASCAR, but its
God, it
true
is.
purpose is for moonshine. That's all what it is,
This is
and it became a character of the show.
this is on the enlightenment of finding out Boomhauer from King of the Hill is a highway patrolman, because you never are really told what he does.
Really does.
And you know that Hank sells propane and propane accessories, and Bill is a barber in the army, and Dale's an exterminator, but they never really talk about Boomhauer's job, which is when my youngest child was in a private school. I met some amazing parents of the other children, because the class was very small and it was the same kids every year. And one of them was an amazing guy who also happened to be a police officer in Scottsdale. And I think we were hanging out all the time in kid functions, or he didn't talk a lot. He was an introvert, but his wife, like me, was a total motor mouth and extrovert and wanted to talk all the time. And oh my God, Kim and I would just have the best time at one of the kid functions because for hours. So one time he's like, you know, you're one of my favorite parents to hang out with. I'm like, oh my God, thank you. That's like an honor because, dude, yeah, you're one of my favorite parents to hang out with too. And he's like, you never ever ask me about being a police officer or about pulling my gun or any of these other ridiculous, did you beat up anybody last week or that? And I'm like, well, no, because, you know, I was raised better. You don't ask inappropriate questions like that. And two, Ron, who's on the council, his dad was a lieutenant when Guy and Ron and I were teenagers. You didn't get in a lot of trouble and you didn't ask certain questions. And way back, my family is cops. So I'm like, no, dude, I'm never going to ask you those questions. If you want to tell me and vent, go right ahead. The doctor is in. If you want to, go ahead, it's therapy time, give it to me. Everybody does. So we're sitting in this backyard of these, all kids are having a great time. There's a pool, there's a birthday party, la 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 la. Here comes the dad of a new kid in the school, and the kid was very good, and the dad was very young, maybe mid-20s, and he and I are older. Of course, this was 15 years ago. Oh hey, I do this. Oh hey, I'm a cop. So how often do you pull your gun? And he and I just looked at each other and started maniacally laughing at one another. It's like, oh my God, they do ask you that for your very first question.
Yep.
It's like the whole, oh, you're a doctor? Look at my arm. Oh yeah, I got this problem.
I used to always get the "What's the worst you've ever seen?"
It's the same. You want to believe common sense is common, but no. The Earth is a beautiful prison. Episode 32. Like and subscribe. Excuse me pardon me while I have a strange interlude. Anyway, back to Hot Wheels, Matchbox, Revell, Corgi. What are the other ones? There's so many actually.
Lindsay, Tomiko. There's hundreds of ones, and some of them are defunct. You get so many different ones. But it infiltrated so much in it, the lexicons. Now, did you realize something? That some of the rarest Hot Wheels were made for girls, trying to get girls into the market? Like the Ken doll. You know who the Ken doll was made for?
Probably
was made after the G.I. Joe doll, trying to get maybe boys to interact with the girls with their version of a male doll. Well, Hot Wheels did the same thing with Hot Wheels. They created pink cars to get girls maybe to play with Hot Wheels.
It'll work.
But they sold so poorly that those are some of the most coveted ones because they're some of the hardest colors to come up. And they've been trying all different things, They did crossovers with Barbie dolls. That's why Hot Wheels does crossovers with Marvel, with DC. That's why they, going back to your Spider-Man car, full circle. The reason why they do that is to get other people from other markets to play with their products and to join them together. Because Hot Wheels did McDonald's,
Oh yeah.
hamburger car, Ronald McDonald car. They made those cars for McDonald's. They made it for KFC. They made it for other venues. They made it for other cartoons. They made specialty for other equipment and stuff on it.
Yeah.
So you could get a moon vehicle with moon eyes and stuff on it. Hot Wheels made for different different products, so you can know what Hot Wheels is about as you advertise your product or gave them out as gifts. So Barbie, Marvel, and all that, Hot Wheels infiltrated a lot of things. So when you look at Hot Wheels, there is the Lego Hot Wheel. They have you ever heard of a GoPro Hot Wheel?
That's a thing now?
That is a thing. It's a Hot Wheel that you could buy for 99 cents, that you could put a mini GoPro on it, and you can run it down your track and take videos. There's hundreds of videos of that on YouTube. And it mounts a GoPro, and you can put it on Hot Wheel track. It's a Hot Wheel chassis, and you can record it and follow Hot Wheels as you go along to take video.
I ran into Sir Dave. He was also helping. Actually, I went down there to help him at Amanda's in Casa Grande, and I was running late. By the time I got down there, he had already finished all the projects that needed to be done. I didn't mean to unscrew the garbage disposal. That just kind of happened. And anyway, it's all fixed now. They can use the dishwasher. So, I'm not a plumber. Sorry. I know I was trying to... The garbage disposal got seized. And I was able to freeze it once before. Unfreeze it. And get it, grinding again. But this time it was just too far gone. It was seized. Even when he got it back together, he couldn't get it to turn. But, okay, put it back together, leave it there, So, I was telling him, he made a video of Arizona wild horses years ago. And it went pretty viral. He made, cash money on it, and lots of people looked. It's a cute video. But I was telling him, dude, if we got together and hung out at your place and played Rock Band and did it live, people would watch it. Oh, no, they won't watch it. People will watch other people play Rock Band. People watch other people play every video game there is. I started playing Master of Orion for 1993, and a bunch of people watched me play that. I love that game, but that's kind of like Risk in Space. It takes days to play that game, not just an hour. Unless you're like, click, 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 People will watch anything. Like and subscribe. Thank you very much for tuning in, dear viewers. I'm always impressed that they have a new Batmobile every movie, and some of them get super ridiculous, and some of them get super tactical military.
You know why?
Enlighten me.
Toys.
Go for it.
It is made to sell toys.
Yes.
And it's made tactical within the theme of what it is. If you see it on screen, you want it in real life. So when they do it tactical and they do it for a purpose, really, does Batman need to change his Batmobile every single movie? No.
Only if
he makes one Batmobile and uses it again, he might use something different. But why the different narration? So if you look at it, we just use the example of the Batmobile. You go from a sleek car from the Adam West one. You start getting to the military tank, but it's still, how can I say, with the Michael Keaton Batmobile, but it's Art Deco. It's built like a tank, but it has a design to it.
Yeah.
Then you go to the animated series. Well, guess what? The animated series takes its origin from the Michael Keaton Batmobile. It's got that long nose, the sweeping lines. Now you go all the way to the Christopher Nolan one. It's a tank. It looks like a Lamborghini, and a tank had an illegitimate child.
Had a bastard child.
Bastard child.
I'll give you that one. Yeah.
It fits Batman, but it doesn't have the bat wings on it. It doesn't have the Batman
It doesn't
insignia.
have the obnoxious fin that they did in Batman.
There's no
Forever.
obnoxious fin. It has the triple. But if you look at it,
Robin.
boom, there you go. It is a quintessential Batmobile. It's the Tumbler. Everybody refers to it as a Tumbler. Now you go back to Schumacher's Batman, the one-seater. Why does Batman have a one-seater if Robin's in the movie? They separate it out. It's like a Formula One car. Cockpit's in the middle.
Yeah.
They took the design from that, trying to emulate it, but they made it Art Deco.
There was too much Hollywood intervention on that. Batman
Way too much Hollywood.
Movie.
Now you go from that one, and you get the other ones that were in the other movies. Now you go back to the opposite.
It again, but yeah, there was way too many.
Way too much on it. Too much lights, too much disco, too much. Now you go to the Ben Affleck one.
Well, hold on.
It looks like a tank.
We're not done ripping up Batman and Robin. Why is Barbara Pennyworth's niece instead of being Gordon's daughter? You've completely fucked up an entire...
It's story. It's Hollywood.
Yeah. Because the problem is that the best part about Batgirl is she becomes Batgirl because nobody's doing anything to help her. And even Batman, who she ends up...
With the movie? But that's why it's panned. It's just an approximation. Yeah. It's Hollywood. It's not anything with it.
I know.
But when you look at the cars, you look at how it changed according with the iteration of Batman. Yeah. Regardless of anybody else is there, you look at his equipment. The same thing happens with the Batwing. Is that when you go from the Schumacher, you go through the
from Burton
Dark Knight, the Dark Knight. When you get to Ben Affleck's one, it's a combination of the Dark Knight, but it starts having more of a sleeker line, getting towards the long nose like the Michael Keaton one, but it's still armor plated.
Yeah.
It still looks like the Dark Knight's one on it. Now you come up with the newest one. The newest one looks like a muscle car. Very little wings. It looks like a Charger. It's what I call the Fast and Furious Batmobile. It looks like Toretto's car. If you look at it, you think it's a 69, 70 Charger with a blower on it.
Oh.
It looks like a muscle car. It doesn't look like that Ben Affleck car. It doesn't look like the regular one.
I mean, even in the animated series, there is a whole episode on Batman's mechanic. Because Bruce and Alfred do the best they can, but he actually has that one dude hidden in a garage with his daughter. It's a whole episode in the animated series in like the second season, I believe. It's even called The Mechanic.
That was the animated series, but the one who built his cars is Lucius Fox. In the whole series and even in the comic books, it's always been Lucius Fox, and always been him or his son, that depending on the Bath mythos. But if you look at the Dark Knight, okay, let's go with the Dark Knight, the true Dark Knight story. He was in a tank as the Batmobile.
Pretty much when he comes back.
With a tank.
Well, again, that's Frank Miller's Batman as opposed to Kane and Friends Batman. And Frank Miller made Batman more of a real life character. Where Bruce Wayne wouldn't be aloof. He wouldn't be this, oh, I didn't even know Two-Face was here. Whoops. He's a billionaire.
But, again, it was designed to sell toys, and it was designed to come up with the market. Because, again, it's the same question I have for you, and I'll blow your mind with this.
Go for it.
Why does Iron Man need all the different Iron Man suits, and why does Batman need all his different suits?
Same reason on both sides in both universes, because not every villain can be defeated with the same arsenal of tools. You're not going to be able to beat Killer Croc with the same shit you brought to beat Mr. Freeze.
Correct. But I'm gonna stump you with this one. Then why are they different colors?
Toys.
You can have Iron Man suit, and I give you that. You're gonna need different villains, but it's gonna look the same.
Alex.
Correct. Toys. You put him in a different suit. You put him in a different color. You can sell it. Same with the bat suit. He doesn't have to change the color of a suit. It can change it. Why have it gray and blue? Why have it black and gold? Why have it yellow and gold? Why have it white and call it the Arctic suit? Well, you can understand that, but he can
That
also
one, yeah,
hide
but-
himself. Why change the color? You don't need to.
No.
So for narration purposes, they do,
Yeah.
but it's to sell more toys. It's to get more
Bat-
things into it.
Batman is the only kid-friendly hero that drives a vehicle besides the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I saw that so much at the job. Other than that, it's Mighty Morphin guys have tons of vehicles. Army soldiers and the military have tons of vehicles. The car aisle and random, oh, this stuffed animal is in a car, or, you know, the remote control minion
Yeah.
that's not in the
Well, if
car
you look-
aisle, you know.
If you look at this, perfect example, the Superman suit. Superman didn't start changing his suit or altering the way it looked into the 70s. The Golden Age was the same suit, the same color, all the way around, no difference.
Yeah.
Same thing with Batman. You go with Green Lantern, the same suit. But once you get into toys and toys becoming prevalent, then you see the shift in the design. You get into the secondary Superman suit.
Yeah.
You get into the black Superman suit. You get into the Executioner suit. Different Superman suits.
Have you seen the
Does
new
he really need another design?
Have you seen the new Superman guy?
I haven't seen the new Superman. I've seen it, but given what I'm going to say is again marketable, is they change it for the era or what they're looking for in it. So they put his shorts back on in this version of Superman.
Okay.
They put it like the Christopher Reeve Superman, kind of going back more to tradition of really who Superman is.
I'm poking you more for the Green Lantern aspect of the new movie with Nathan Fillion being Guy Gardner.
That one.
Which
Yes, Guy Gardner.
Guy Gardner's a fucking asshole, but Nathan Fillion is an amazing actor. I can't wait to. I'm actually excited about this, and I hate
He's
Superman.
perfect for.
Of
From
course
I
he
heard,
is.
he's perfect for it because it's such a good role that James Gunn wanted him in it,
Okay,
and I would agree.
can
I would agree because it's perfect.
He's already played this character in Dr.
Mhm.
Horrible's sing-along blog as Captain Hammer. Because Captain Hammer is the hero in the story, but he's a fucking dick. You know, he's like Homelander. You don't want to be around him.
Yep.
You don't want him to save you. This guy's an asshole. Guy Gardner.
Well,
Because
it's kind of like
Guy Gardner thinks he is the Green Lantern. Dude, it's a core. There's thousands of them.
well, to be honest, this is funny, but it's James Gunn's wink and an FU to Ryan Reynolds. Back and forth, because I'm going to give you a little history on Green Lantern, and once you hear this, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember when Green Lantern, the movie, was coming out?
Yeah.
Everybody wanted Nathan Fillion to be the Green Lantern. He was in high running.
To be Hal,
But
he's already played it on Robot Chicken and
Correct. No. But Robot Chicken picked it up because that rumor came first. He was in there, but Ryan Reynolds got the part. But everybody wanted him to play it. So Robot Chicken was goofing on that he didn't get the role, so they offered him the role in Robot Chicken.
See,
But he didn't get the role
I know.
because of that.
They're two
So what
great
happened was
actors.
that correct. But that's why he's Guy Gardner. It's kind of an FU to Ryan Reynolds and all that. As that Green Lantern, they made him the opposing of Howard Jordan.
Hal Jordan, yeah.
Now, the trick is what's going on, and they may explain this in the Superman movie. They may not explain this in the Superman movie. But Guy Gardner was one of the original selections for the ring. He was too far the distance. Hal Jordan was closer, that he went to Hal Jordan first. But Guy Gardner was first selected, but the distance covered was closer to Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan was the second.
Didn't he get hit by
And
a
Hal
car
Jordan got
or
the-
something, and he's in a coma?
That's later.
Oh.
That's later.
Sorry.
Because he got that happened later, but he was a good guy. It wasn't later. So he was trying to protect somebody, got hit, got put into a coma, and he woke up the asshole.
That's right.
Because Guy Gardner was a good guy. Was like him. He woke. He was never there. He had head trauma. He got injured as being a Green Lantern. Went into a coma, and that's when they brought in John Stewart. John Stewart became the Green Lantern when Guy Gardner got disabled for a bit. But when he woke out of it, he got his Green Lantern ring back. But he was an asshole.
John Stewart's a better Green Lantern, to be awesome. And it's a damn
Yep.
shame because we need to get Terry Crews in the suit now and be because Phil Lamar does the voice in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, and he's just perfect. It's always funny that he's Conrad in Futurama, and then he's John Stewart in.
But if you really think about it, that's how meta. That's how meta that he's. That's why he put Nathan Fillion in it, because it kind of brings it all full circle. Because it's kind of a joke on a joke saying, "Well, you didn't want him as this Green Lantern. We got to put him at this Green Lantern," and he looks so perfect for the role.
Yeah,
It looks so perfect. I
mean,
can see him as Guy.
even from being Captain Hammer and then being in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Nathan Fillion is like so many other actors, even Keanu Reeves or who's another good one, where I don't care if he's a good guy or a bad guy. I just want to see him in this movie.
No, which makes it totally expected and kind of a breath of fresh air to see the Nathan. Just to go see his parts in it, to see what he does. It looks funny. It looks like, okay, you got to get Guy Gardner as Guy Gardner.
Yeah.
It's not going to be edited. It looks like it's going to be just like it is in the comic book straight out. So James Gunn appreciates comics, so that's why, going back to the Superman, he's got his shorts on. He's got the Christopher Reeve style without being the Christopher Reeve style. If you know what I mean.
Christopher Reeve brought a essence to Superman that, like George Reeves did a great job, but he was very kind of, how you would expect a movie in the 1930s to be. Go here, do this, do that. It's very formulaic, where you connected with Clark Kent. You understood Superman's struggles through. I think that if anybody else had played Superman besides Christopher Reeves, the movie would have been received a lot differently. Like if Burt Reynolds had played Christopher Reeve, or if Burt Reynolds had played Superman, it would have been a lot different. Or Clint Eastwood, or anybody else, it would have been a lot different. But there's something about Christopher Reeves as an actor where you automatically connect with him. Like even in Death Trap or Noises Off or a lot of the other movies he's been in, he's just kind of like a normal guy who gets into these terrible situations. He pulls that off very, very well.
Well, here's the thing about like Superman that everybody gets wrong, and psychologically when they look at it, he's not the son of Krypton. He's the son of Martha and Jonathan Kent.
Yeah.
He would grow up like them. He grew up human. He doesn't know any better, doesn't know any difference. He's got to outrun his past. So with Superman, the reason why everybody goes with the Donner films, and I love the Donner films, is that it's not a naivety. It's an honest appreciation and goodness that he looks at the world.
Yeah.
Which very few people had at the time. Because if you look at the other Supermans, is that there's no pessimism in Superman. He's a light touch with a big hammer.
Yeah.
And he has. I'm going to save this kitty. I'm going to save you, but I don't want to hurt anybody.
Yeah. The first movie.
He's the ultimate pessimist.
The first movie of Superman is his origin, and absolutely nothing happens in this movie except the earthquake and him flying around the world. Gene Hackman always does an amazing job as an actor. He's a brilliant actor, but sorry, dude, you're not Lex Luthor. You'd be way better as the Joker or the Riddler or Two-Face or even the Penguin with a shit ton of makeup. But Clancy Brown, the The first movie is just, here's Superman. The second movie, kneel before Zod. And Terrence Stamp really carries that movie. Because Margot Kidder, and that's great. But the third one is basically, here's Richard Pryor. Oh, awesome. Let's watch this. So the fourth one, let's go right to Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor. This is where Kevin Spacey, who's fantastically universal, doesn't really pull it off either. He pulls basically a Gene Hackman Lex Luthor.
Well, but that's the thing is with that one, with Superman Returns, that's why they got Brandon Routh. And they didn't get Brandon Routh because he's Brandon Routh. It's Brandon Routh doing his best rendition of Christopher Reed.
He did fine.
So,
and Parker,
he did fine. But it wasn't Brandon Routh Superman. It was him pretending to be Christopher Reed as Superman.
Because you've got the director going, do this. But I wanted to play that. Oh, okay, whatever. And then Parker Posey's in it, so I can watch this whole movie. But then, it was just so, the tempo of that film made it hard to watch because it was like listening to a politician who does a lot of unnecessary pauses. I've lost your message because I'm so mad that you stopped in the middle of that sentence that I can't think of anything else. So then you get to Henry Cavill's Superman. Okay, hold on a minute. Amy Adams as Lois Lane. You have my full and complete and total attention. Kevin Costner as his dad. Okay. But most of it was really good, but then it kind of like made a lot of, like, Kevin Costner gets killed and he could have totally saved him, but he made him not save him. Dude, he can move faster than a speeding bullet. No one's going to see you save him. Go for it.
Here's where everybody makes a mistake. Everybody makes a mistake in this.
Everybody.
He's not Superman. He's not Superman. It's the Man of Steel. So this comic, if you really think about it, this is the Man of Steel comics from the early 90s. This had a darker tone, and this had the same story where they brought the Kents into it. So this is not the Christopher Reed story back in that. It was never done. This is the Man of Steel series that they had where they relaunched Superman in the early 90s. And they told that story from the Man of Steel point. It was a whole series that they went up until it got canceled. But it was the Man of Steel. It was never mentioned as Superman. So with the Man of Steel series, just like that's why it was used. That's why it was the Henry Cavill's version of it. But DC screwed it up when they came to the issue where he faced off with Batman. The whole series as it's written is a Superman series, but done in a 90s pessimistic view. It wasn't as heartfelt like the other one. Yeah. He was hiding. He was trying to do it just like the movie come out. Yeah. Was the Man of Steel series.
I have to
he
say
was a version of Superman.
Yeah, Henry Cavill is a very versatile actor. I've seen him in Tristan and Isolde. I saw him in The Tudors, and then he was Superman. Then he was The Witcher. He's working on the Warhammer movie or whatever. And and he was in
Voltron. He's going to come out in Voltron.
Awesome. But no, Netflix. I saw part of it. I don't know if it's still on. Enola Holmes. Doesn't he play Sherlock?
He's not the main character. She plays Sherlock. He's the writer. He's the one that gets the notoriety. She's the one that plays the writer.
But he's either Sherlock or Mycroft. I can't remember which. There's like
he's like a Sherlock character, but he doesn't do the investigation. It's kind of like a Remington Steele. I've seen that Enola Holmes. He's the Sherlock Holmes, but she's the one that solves everything.
Girl power. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. It's one of those. It's a Remington Steele.
Yeah, whatever. 8 o'clock. How you doing, Rob?
Yep, it's time. Benner is over here right now. The side eye.
Is he? Really?
Oh, the side eye. Oh no.
He's so cute.
He's over here giving me the whimper of the side eye. It's like, Dad, the fuck.
it's time.
Rug.
I'm tired. You need to go to bed. I need to curl up and pass out. Like, it was so hot today, all 8 cats just decided at like 1 o'clock that, no, fuck it, going inside. Forget
We've
it.
been children, Dad. We're
Yeah.
done.
They were all sleeping in the living room on various boxes and stuff. Because, yeah. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. We are the Supreme Council of the Master Geeks Lodge. Yeah.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
What's your favorite Hot Wheels? What's your favorite Matchbox?
Hmm.
Do you have any? We never did name your cigar. That we. Uh-oh.
Yeah, what's your cigar
There he
for
is.
today?
Hey, buddy. I don't care. Screw you, Bill.
He's just he's over here looking at me like, okay, damn it.
I've barked at all the cats. It's time to go now.
He said, I have spoken to the neighborhood. The trash heap has spoken.
The trash heap.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, Gurkha.
Gurkha?
Gurkha Havana Legend.
Ooh.
So tonight was the Gurkha Havana Legend, a very nice, medium-bodied cigar, good flavor, nice even draw, nice and stable all the way through. And if you have a cigar that you enjoy, or if you like cigars, go to Total Wines. They have cigar packs for $40 for 6 Gurkhas. They have 2 different packs available right now.
Durka. Jihad Durka.
Good stuff.
Sorry.
Of course, Bill has all the devil's lettuce.
Hey, tobacco. I have the jazz cabbage, the devil's lettuce. Tobacco is really awesome, but you get your more bang for your buck with weed, kids. Now, this is garlic spuds, and I can't remember the other one. And then I always mix strains because eventually if you smoke too much of one strain, your body becomes accustomed to it, and it doesn't give you the amazing feeling as for... No. You get a tolerance like anything else. Same thing with drinking the Jim Beam. At first, it's like, oh, I just have 1 double and I'm done. And then a week later, you're up to 2, and then a month later, you're up to 3, and the next thing you know, oh my God, I got to take a break. I'm drinking way too much.
You're drinking it like a cola.
That's the problem. But cigarettes are great, but cigars are really where it's at. I mean, you can't take a cigar break at work, but it's definitely worth it when you go home at night and you've got a, bowl and a mixed drink and you have a nice cigar. You can't, not only that, cigars are kind of like action-packed with energy, so you don't want to take a break. You want to do stuff. That's why I kind of understand now how the old man, after he retired, always had a cigar sticking out of his mouth, because it's the constant nicotine buzz.
I'll keep one going if I'm working in the shop. Otherwise, if I'm going to relax, cigar will last me a good 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's because I'm taking my time, enjoying it, and that's the whole purpose behind it.
Yeah.
My cardiologist, my surgeon, and my primary care all said, if you're going to smoke, I'd rather you smoke cigars, because you can't sit and smoke a whole box of cigars.
Oh my God, no!
Unless you're George Burns. And you ain't George Burns.
Your lungs would go through a cheese grater, to quote Red Dwarf. No, the best thing, tobacco is great, but I found that I'm a social smoker. I really only want tobacco when there's a bunch of people around, when we're hanging out, when we're having a good time. Other than that, I don't really crave tobacco on my own. Marijuana, on the other hand, well, that's a 3-hour ride of not so sore muscles and a lot of focus, because it kind of acts as Adderall, where I'm a lot more crazy and unhinged when I'm not smoking weed than when I am. Because, anyway. Yay! Recreational drugs, kids. Tobacco, alcohol, and nicotine. Caffeine. Because there's
Good stuff.
soda in this. I don't know. You're probably drinking soda. You're a soda drinker. See, we never see Guy
Classic.
drink anything, so he may not even exist on water. Water is crucial, especially when you're drinking.
Water is crucial when you live in.
Here in the desert, oh my God, yeah. But yeah, stay tuned for more. We're gonna get the one-off going. So, motherfucker, I'm sanding the '54 Chevy driver's fender. Okay, this one's in much better condition than the passenger. Wait a minute, and I even showed it on the video. There's a lot of Bondo, and it seems to be in a circle. Somebody flattened out a little part of the top of the fender and drilled a fucking hole in it. So, after I was done being mad, wait a minute, we could probably, put a little figurine up there and put a light in it. And just have that. Because the other fender doesn't have this hole.
I say it's perfect welding practice for you, too. We get a piece of copper, put it on the bottom side, and you get to practice filling a hole.
Yep.
Because the weld will not attach to the copper, but the copper will help it to give a nice clean surface.
And just grind
and
it.
you can learn how to smooth it back down.
Yeah. No, I'm not afraid of that at all. What's like 235 for an argon? Well, let me say this. I put in my 2-week notice at work because I'm not going to get into that right now. But if I don't have to work tomorrow, I'll come over and bother you about welding and stuff like that. I want to get that. I don't want to leave the grill for the Ford in your garage and be just another person leaving shit at your house. And then I started grinding down. I'm just going to grind everything down and paint it, and then we'll move on from there.
Yep.
Say the word, and I can drop off one of the rusted heaps in your front yard.
I've got a bag of cans for you, too.
Oh, nice. That's good. Guy?
Yeah. Sorry, I had to get my charger.
You know we're going to be doing this every Monday. He was getting naked, ladies and gentlemen. It had nothing to do.
Oh.
And then we lost him. Okay. I was joking about the naked thing. We don't want that. Well, that was premature, but thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe. Stay geeky. You could have watched anybody, but you decided to watch us. And have a great week. Make the most of it. We'll do the best we can to be in front of you and being obnoxious as much as we can. 100% pure barf. All right. That's good. On that note, have a wonderful night. Thank you very much. You have a good one, sir.
Take care.
Absolutely.
You too.
Thank you very much.